I'm Ackerman, and these are the stories making news.
I'm Maria Kino with the latest on the investigation into the most recent death at the City Justice Center.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, a Missouri state senator pushing for changes to the juvenile detention system after a teenager was arrested twice for carjacking rideshare drivers.
Sports betting apps are closer to getting their licenses, but when will you be able to place a bet? I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
President Trump will try to convince Ukraine's president to join his face-to-face meeting with Russia's president on Friday.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine and some clouds today with a high of 87.
That sounds like a great day for a ball game, Joe. Cardinals play today, go for a series win after a disappointing one last night.
For news, KMOX AM.
This is KMOX at 6 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump has a virtual meeting with foreign leaders today ahead of Friday's summit with Vladimir Putin in Alaska.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Frantic 11th hour phone calls underway on this side of the Atlantic. European leaders talking among themselves and with Ukraine's President Zelensky ahead of an online call with President Trump later today. They're hoping to persuade Trump to side with Ukraine at Friday's summit. They're also expected to repeat their assertion that no decisions on Ukraine's future or its borders can be taken without Ukraine at the table.
The German government says Zelensky arrived in Berlin about an hour and a half ago. Some Washington, D.C. locals are scratching their heads as hundreds of National Guard troops take up positions next to local police on district streets on orders from President Trump.
I would understand if things was going haywire or hectic, but there's no need for him to be doing what he's doing.
The president says it's about curbing what he calls rampant crime, despite numbers that show it's actually near its lowest levels in 30 years. A town in Tennessee has agreed to turn a former prison into an immigration detention facility, and not everyone's happy about it.
The Board of Aldermen in Mason, population 1,300, approved the idea over the objections of angry audience members at their meeting. Mayor Eddie Naaman shouted them down.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Merry Christmas.
He says reopening the prison will create 240 jobs.
I'm not understand why people against it. You know, it's not human right. We don't have nothing to do with it.
Angry residents fired back.
There's got to be better jobs than that. Are you telling me these are the jobs that you want for your kids?
2,100 people have already applied for the jobs. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Tropical storm Erin is stirring up dangerous rip currents along the East Coast as the system powers out in the Atlantic, powers up. CBS News meteorologist Tony Sadiku is keeping an eye on the forecast.
This storm is going to move into an environment that's going to be more favorable, warmer waters in the days ahead. And that's why we expect more strengthening with time, likely becoming a hurricane later this week as it passes just north of the eastern Caribbean islands, north of Puerto Rico.
5 people in New Jersey had to be rescued when they were swept away in a rip current off Seaside Heights. One man later died. Beyonce is halfway to an EGOT. She's won her first Emmy for the costumes in last year's Netflix special Beyonce Bowl. She already has 35 Grammys, so she still needs a Tony and an Oscar to become a rare EGOT winner. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood.
It is 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got clear skies. It's 71 degrees. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Could Jefferson City bring changes to the juvenile detention assessment point system?
Police across Missouri are calling for changes after a teenager was arrested for allegedly carjacking 2 rideshare drivers at gunpoint on consecutive nights in St. Louis City last week. State Senator Steve Butt says the original intent of the system was well intended.
Nobody wanted 14 and 15-year-olds locked up with adults. But I think where we're getting now is, maybe that pendulum has to be readjusted.
Butt says he expects this to be a top issue when lawmakers return to Jefferson City. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
In a KMOX follow-up, we talk with the chairman of the Detention Facilities Oversight Board of the City Justice Center following last month's death of a detainee.
Reverend Darrell Gray tells KMOX the Detention Facilities Oversight Board is limited with what they can say because, according to a city ordinance, when there is an ongoing police investigation, the DFOB cannot conduct their own investigation.
But what I've asked the DFOB staff to do is that immediately upon the conclusion of the police investigation, that we are going to do our own inquiry as far as DFOB.
Reverend Gray says the board wants to know what happened leading up to 31-year-old Samuel Hayes Jr.'s death, including if he received the proper medical attention. Gray tells KMOX he and Mayor Kara Spencer made an unannounced visit to the City Justice Center last week and saw the area where Hayes Jr. died. It's still not known, though, when St. Louis Police's FI unit will wrap up their investigation. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
St. Louis City continues to await an answer about whether the Army Corps of Engineers will help after May's tornado. Mayor Kara Spencer shares what kind of assistance the city is hoping they can provide.
We really want the Army Corps to assist us in the debris removal and the demolition, which we know is just a tremendous lift.
Spencer hopes to receive more information from the federal government on the Army Corps of Engineers as soon as this week.
St. Mary's Southside Catholic High School is celebrating the purchase of their property from the Archdiocese, allowing them to function as an independent private school. School president Mike England says this would not be possible without cooperation from the Archdiocese.
There is no playbook to any of this, but our journey down this road would never have been possible without the cooperation of the Archdiocese.
St. Mary's is also touting their new partnership program with local trade unions, allowing students to participate in pre-apprenticeship programs.
Speaking to the media for the first time since being indicted, St. Louis County Executive Sam Page maintains his innocence. He was asked how this could impact his duties as county executive.
I'm going to keep doing the work of St. Louis County, like building roads, like we're here today to celebrate, like making sure that our county operations run, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to do it.
Despite telling the Business Journal in April he wants to run again, Page said he has not decided yet if he will run for re-election, but will before the end of the year. He is due to be arraigned on his 2 felony and 2 misdemeanor counts later this month.
Attorney General Andrew Bailey continues his efforts to end abortions in Missouri despite the passage of Amendment 3 last November. And Tuesday, the Missouri Supreme Court unanimously ruled that Bailey's attempt to get the high court to reinstate a ban was in error, that he should not have skipped the Court of Appeals in his attempt to overturn an injunction issued by a Jackson County judge. That judge, Jerry Zhang, issued the temporary injunction because she hasn't yet ruled on a lawsuit over the fact that the amendment legalizing abortion didn't directly repeal state laws banning or regulating it. For the time being, doctors can continue providing abortion services.
2 sports books this week will get the first 2 licenses to operate in Missouri. That process starts today as the Missouri Gaming Commission hears arguments from 3 companies, DraftKings, FanDuel, and Circa, which are vying for the 2 untethered licenses. Michael Calhoun explains what untethered means with Ryan Butler, reporter for Covers.
So if you don't get one of the untethered licenses, you basically have to have a physical presence. Now, if you're like, Penn or Caesars, you've already got a casino. So that seems to be pretty easy. Otherwise, I guess, partner with like the Cardinals for Ballpark Village, or if you don't get the untethered, you got to figure out some way to have a physical presence then.
Exactly. And so that's the biggest difference, is that it's kind of an annoyance.
The 2 other ways to enter the state are A, have a casino, or B, partner with a professional team. The Cardinals already have a deal with Bet365. That leaves 5 teams available, including the Blues and City SC. The commission is expected to award the 2 licenses on Friday, but December 1st is still the start date.
It is 6:08. We're going to check traffic and weather, and a favorite spot for birthday parties is going out of business, but you may be able to buy some parting gifts. We'll explain coming up.
The reason many of us hate insurance companies is because some of them act like bullies. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been dealing with these creatures my whole career. Whether it's a workers' comp claim, an auto accident, or a nursing home or medical mishap, the playbook is often the same: deny and delay. We became the largest injury firm in America for a reason. We fight the bullies. They know who we are, and I know it makes a difference for our clients. Just go to forthepeople.com and see our results and our verdicts after those bullies gave us their final offer. Hiring the wrong firm can be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. It's easy to get going. Visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer, or call us on your cell at Pound Law, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
6:10, let's talk traffic. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. What's happening?
Well, we still have a little bit of a delay. The road work that's been going on overnight, Tom, on eastbound 64 in the Fairview Heights area goes on until 7 a.m. They have additional lane restrictions during the overnight hours. So that's what's going on right now. There's that additional lane closure. So they have a couple lanes shut down between 159 and Greenmount Road, and it's bogged down. Not a jam, but it's slow just east of 159, most of the way to Greenmount on eastbound 64. Westbounders are fine there. Emergency repair work going on 5570 at Exchange. Again, is not bothering anybody currently. Again, not enough volume there to cause any issues. Had a report of a stalled vehicle southbound 55, I believe around Merrimack Bottom, not seeing delays there. And the little bit of a delay we had westbound 64 running out between K and Winghaven is dissipated. Of course, that's a construction area. But again, the eastbound side's been fine the whole time along and continues to roll. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a mix of sun and clouds today and humid with a high of 87. Mainly clear tonight, though 71. Tomorrow, more sun than clouds, quite warm, rather humid, high 89. For Friday, mostly sunny, hot and humid with a high of 97. And AccuWeather real field temperatures reaching 105. The heat continues through the weekend. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got clear skies downtown and 71 degrees. The weather is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check with Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It's 6:12. The Anti-Defamation League is commending Missouri for its progress in fighting anti-Semitism with new legislative measures.
The new Jewish Policy Index by ADL places the Show Me State in the progressing states category. One recent measure, the Missouri Task Force on Nonprofit Security, was signed into law earlier this year.
We're very excited about that.
Jordan Kadosh, ADL St. Louis.
And it has strong hate crimes laws and prohibitions against doxing and swatting. And these are tactics that extremists use, not just to target Jewish institutions, but to target vulnerable populations across the state.
The latest report arrives on the heels of what's being investigated as a targeted hate crime in Clayton last week, where a resident was an apparent target of arson and anti-Semitic graffiti. The weekend before that attack, Clayton School District announced it would be adopting ADL's No Place for Hate program this school year.
We really are looking for action to address anti-Semitism in K-12 schools, defining it for the educational space, not just adopting it as a proclamation.
Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Missourians will soon have a new way to pay for everyday expenses. A new law sponsored by Republican State Representative Bill Hardwick recognizes gold and silver as legal currency. He tells MissouriNet how it works.
Missouri could say, okay, we're going to create these notes. This is a 5 gold-backed note. This is a 1 gold-backed note. And if you want to make your payments, you can turn these notes into us. And so when they create them, then that gives it validity that the state accepts it. And then a market can be created if a business says we want to accept this.
Hardwick emphasizes participation is voluntary for Missouri businesses, whether they want to accept the currency. He says the law opens the door to a new market and gives Missourians one more option on how they choose to manage their money.
America's Incredible Pizza Company is shutting down its South County location, and there is an online auction for a number of the games, rides, and restaurant fixtures. According to the Business Journal, any gift cards or tickets can be redeemed through August 17th. The Springfield, Missouri-based company that began in 2001 owns other locations around the country, but says the St. Louis market has experienced shifts in consumer behavior that has made it increasingly challenging to sustain operation levels they strive for. As part of its 25th anniversary, the company is also rebranding. The South Lindbergh property is owned by Christ Memorial Lutheran Church.
WNBA players have been targeted on the court with sex toys thrown from the stands. Assistant Director of American Culture Studies at Washington University, Noah Cohen, tells KMOX the perpetrators are trying to send the message that women are not welcome in sports. He says the league has countered in a very powerful way.
They're taking action to prevent it, and they're also not going to give it too much oxygen. I mean, that's part of what these perpetrators want is attention.
Individuals behind the stunt say it's just meant to be funny and to get viral moments to sell meme coins. League officials say they will respond with prosecutions.
Well, with that, we're going to lead with the WNBA scoreboard. Indiana lost at home to Dallas, 81-80. Caitlin Clark not playing for the Indiana Fever right now. She is injured, but hopes to be back soon. The WNBA has been thriving with Caitlin Clark at the forefront of their play. Indiana's Sophie Cunningham, the Mizzou grad, has been in the spotlight ever since she defended Clark in one of their games. She also is some player. She had 14 points in that losing effort last night with 2 rebounds and 3 assists. Also, it was New York beating LA 105-97. 4 games in the WNBA tonight. Chicago at Connecticut, Golden State at Washington, New York at Las Vegas, Atlanta at Seattle. As for the Cardinals, they play this afternoon, a 1:15 start, pregame at 12:20. I'll start our coverage at noon from Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village. And Matt Pauley, yesterday's 3-0 loss was very disappointing.
It's a frustrating 3-0 loss for the Cardinals to the Rockies. Colorado starter Kyle Freeland enters with a 5.5 ERA, but goes 7 1/3 scoreless innings. Manager Oliver Marmol doesn't think that tells the story of the quality of at-bats that his team takes.
To throw 7 1/3 with 2 punch outs and no runs, a lot has to go your way. So I do feel like we took some pretty good swings and nothing to show for it.
Of the 17 hardest exit velocities in the game, the Cardinals had 15 of them, but it does not bear fruit. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
And on the flip side, Matt, the Milwaukee Brewers have erupted again. They beat Paul Skeens and the Pirates 14-0 yesterday in Milwaukee for their 11th consecutive victory. 11-game winning streak, their second of the season, and the second longest in franchise history. Skeens permitted 4 runs and 6 hits in 4 innings, and the Brewers blasted 5 home runs on the day. They have a 7.5-game lead in the National League Central over the Cubs. The 3 wildcard teams right now, the Cubs, the either Dodgers or Padres atop the NL West, and the Mets, the 3rd team. Yes, I said the NL West is now tied. The Padres won yesterday at San Francisco, and the Dodgers lost at the Angels. So Mike Schilt and the Padres have climbed into a division co-lead with the Dodgers atop the NL West. Phillies lead the Mets by 5 games in the NL East. Your American League leaders, the Toronto Blue Jays, 4.5-game lead on Boston in the East. The Yankees will be here this weekend, are 6 games back in that division. Tigers up 5.5 on the Guardians in the Central. Astros and Seattle now tied atop the AL West. And the American League wild card has Toronto, Detroit, Houston, or Seattle as the division leaders with the wild cards, either Houston or Seattle, Boston, and then the Yankees with the Guardians a game back. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Inside Pitch was sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Gamma Tree Experts. If you own a commercial property or business, Gamma Tree's commercial tree service maintains trees on those properties. A few examples: corporate grounds, apartment complexes, schools, churches, shopping centers, country club grounds. These programs are designed for all season service. Gamma Tree Experts will keep your grounds looking great 24/7. They will protect your investment by providing a clearly stated tree care proposal, a scope of work, terms and conditions, guaranteed pricing. Gamma Tree Experts can also put together an integrated proactive program. Some of those examples would be regular inspections, preventative maintenance, scheduled pruning, timely fertilization. Gamma Tree Experts. They recommend practical solutions that they know work. Gamma Tree Experts, commercial and residential. Visit them online at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's 6:20. That means it's time for us to take a look at the roadways. Roger Brand is keeping his eye on things from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so far so good, Debbie. This traffic reports the service at Jack in the Box. If you're traveling north on 270, seeing a little bit of a slowdown approaching 64 in the construction area right now, but not bad, obviously. There's a little bit of a jam up on southbound Jeffco Boulevard just south of 141, so watch it if you're traveling through that area. Northbound 55, a little crowded, maybe approaching Weber. Really doesn't look like that it's that much of an issue. The only place we've got delays is a slowdown, roadwork slowdown. Additional lanes closed till 7 this morning, eastbound 64 between 159 and Greenmount. And right now it's sort of bogged down eastbound from 159 about midway into Greenmount Road. And again, that'll hopefully disappear after 7 a.m. when they drop that additional lane restriction they have during the overnight hours. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Jack in the Box.
Spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack Combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
Ooh, it's going to be smoking hot this weekend, so enjoy the next couple of days. Sunny and humid, but highs in the upper 80s will do just fine. A high of 87 today, 71 for the low tonight, high of 89 tomorrow. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, real feels over 105 each afternoon, highs in the upper 90s. Lots of sun, lots of humidity, middle of August, summer heat in St. Louis. Right now, it's mostly clear and 72 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. President Trump holding a virtual meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky and European leaders ahead of Friday's meeting with Russian President Putin. We get more from CBS's Jared Hill.
Today, President Donald Trump will hold a virtual meeting with Ukrainian and European leaders 2 days before his sit-down with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The president has deep respect for all parties that are involved in this conflict and are trying to bring this conflict to an end.
CBS News has learned the Trump-Putin meeting will happen Friday at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson on the northern edge of Anchorage, Alaska. While the White House says the details are still being finalized, it's working to temper expectations.
This is a listening exercise for the president. Look, only one party that's involved in this war is going to be present.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says discussions to end the war must involve Ukraine and Europe, adding Ukraine will not concede territory to Moscow. He also warned Russia could be planning a new military offensive. The White House says the eventual end goal is to get Putin and Zelensky together to hammer out a peace deal.
President Trump ordered a federal takeover of the D.C. Police Department and the deployment of hundreds of National Guard troops, claiming there is currently a public safety emergency in the nation's capital.
White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt announcing about 850 federal law enforcement officials were deployed in the nation's capital Monday night into Tuesday.
These arrests consisted of homicide, firearms offenses, possession with intent to distribute narcotics, fare evasion, lewd acts, stalking, possession of a high-capacity magazine, fleeing to elude in a vehicle.
The current plan calls for the temporary takeover of the D.C. Metro Police Department by the Justice Department, and that it will last for just 30 days. But Leavitt acknowledged they will reassess and reevaluate further at the end of that time.
Over the course of the next month, the Trump administration will relentlessly pursue and arrest every violent criminal in the district who breaks the law, undermines public safety,
it's time
and
for a
endangers
$98
law-abiding
AC.
Americans.
Both the House and Senate would need to approve any extension. Meanwhile, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says police in her city will try to take advantage of the extra help.
What I'm focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we have.
House Oversight Chair James Comer announced plans to haul Bowser and other city leaders for a Capitol Hill hearing next month, just as the 30-day expiration date is set to expire. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin says he will introduce legislation that would end Trump's takeover of the police force immediately. Republicans say they plan to push D.C. security-related bills when they return from recess. Democrats in the Senate would likely filibuster. As for the here and now, D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith maintains they will have a good working relationship with federal law enforcement.
And we have been working collaboratively. I think this is going to be a good effort. It's going to be an effort that's supported by both teams, the Metropolitan Police Department, as well as our federal partners.
A recent DOJ report found violent crime was down 35% since 2023 and reached a 30-year low last year. John Stolnis, Washington.
More details are revealed about the CDC shooting in Atlanta.
Authorities say the shooter who attacked CDC headquarters in Atlanta last week was protesting coronavirus vaccines.
Over 500 shell casings have been recovered from the crime scene area. A total of 5 firearms, along with other evidence, has been recovered from the scene and will be submitted for further forensic testing. Close to 200 rounds impacted 6 of the CDC buildings.
Chris Hosey with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation says Patrick White fired more than 180 shots with a long gun and broke into a locked safe to get his father's weapons. A police officer was killed.
The shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Hosey says White wanted to send a message.
A search warrant executed at the residence of the shooter revealed written documentation that expressed the shooter's discontent with the COVID-19 vaccinations.
Audio from WSB. The FBI's Paul Brown was asked about threats based on misinformation regarding the CDC and its vaccine work.
We've not seen an uptick, although any rhetoric that suggests or leads to violence is something we take very seriously.
White had no known criminal history. I'm Ed Donahue.
It's 6:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or 2 half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-311-9595. That's 800-311-9595.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis and St. Charles families have trusted Suntrup Buick GMC. As a proud family-owned dealership, we offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Buick GMC, you'll always find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and every vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupbuickgmc.com. Save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It is 6:30. We've got some sunshine, a few light clouds in downtown St. Louis, 71 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things are doing all right out there. I mean, it's getting a little busier if you're hitting the highways right now, but not too much to be worried about. You do see some slow traffic. North 270, there's those lane restrictions that are narrowed lanes, 3 in each direction between 64 and Ladue. North 270 is bogging down about midway between Manchester and Ladue right now, so getting busier at the top end there on northbound 270, but further down to the south, it's starting off fine. Northbound 55 looks great down in Festus, just a little busy north of Bayless briefly, so again, not bad there. Southbound 61 starting to slow down, north of Wentzville Parkway down to the 6470 interchange. Of course, that ramp leading on to westbound 70 is closed, and it will be, I think, through 24th of September, something like that. And on the Illinois side, they've got roadwork going on eastbound 64, east of 159. There's a short jam up approaching 159, additional lane closed there until 7 this morning. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is not going to be too bad the next 2 days. It gets really hot by the weekend, though. Today, partly sunny and humid with a high of 87 degrees. And then tomorrow, a high of 89. Right now, it's 71 degrees.
Well, it's been closed for a decade, but downtown's former Millennium Hotel is apparently still hosting visitors. Thomas Robinson says he saw 3 people sitting on the roof of the Round Tower while having dinner nearby last weekend. His video has racked up thousands of views.
They asking all type of questions. How do they get up there? Why are they up there? There's people up there saying that that's not the first time that's happened as well. I've had people tell me to look on their pages. They got videos of them doing the same thing. So I'm guessing it's a frequent thing.
Gateway Arch Park Foundation is facilitating redevelopment of the hotel and says it's sealed access points and put in place new security measures.
I'm Maria Kina. Conversations with the Millennium representatives have been happening and are continuing with St. Louis police commanders, yet problems persist at the abandoned hotel. Tuesday morning, a person was arrested for burglary, and since last August through yesterday, police have responded to 54 calls, ranging from calling for help to arsons, suspicious persons, prowlers, disturbances, and destruction of property. KMOX asked St. Louis police if they can compel Millennium representatives to secure the building and surrounding property, but we were told they do not have anything further to add at this time.
And the Francis Howell School District is starting its new year without a superintendent and calls for an investigation. Dr. Mike Dominguez was supposed to take over as superintendent July 1st. Instead, just days before that, the district announced that due to unforeseen circumstances, Dominguez was out and he walked away with a $229,000 payout. 4 days later, an Oklahoma school district announced they'd hired him. That has the Holy Joe Society, a nonprofit civic organization, calling on the Attorney General and state auditor to investigate. They point out that an audit of the district in December gave Francis Howell not just a poor rating, but the lowest possible poor rating. The district says legally it can't say any more about the settlement with Dominguez.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your money report next.
Refresh, restore, and protect your employees and customers. Call Zero Res to clean your business the right way so your floors and surfaces stay cleaner longer without the harmful chemicals the other guys use. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Like I said before, tariffs had absolutely zero effect on our equipment pricing. No manufacturer raised their prices. What has affected the pricing is the previous 4 years of these ridiculous mandates. I mean, I say ridiculous, it's shameful. But that being said, if you're told that you need a new system, or your air conditioner is bad, or you're looking to replace your system, if you want a common sense approach which works for you, your family, and your budget. When I say your budget, it never is what you want it to be on this equipment, but common sense approach, 15-20 minutes of your time, and explain to you your options. No Kool-Aid being handed out. I'm Bart Inman. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I. The easiest way to get a hold of me with the easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, there's only one, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. Fantastic deal. God bless.
It is now 6:34. Time for your money report, which is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. Big story in Techland. Perplexity has made a formal offer to acquire Google's Chrome browser for $34.5 billion and plans to fund the deal with the help of outside investors if accepted. Google faces U.S. antitrust proceedings. It could require it to sell the web browser, with the U.S. government proposing Google sell Chrome and license search data to competitors. Some analysts say Chrome could be worth more than 3 times that. Could see more volatility in crude oil. The International Energy Agency says global oil markets on track for a record surplus next year. That's as demand growth slows and supplies surge. And those trendy whipped sunscreens made by Supergoop and others may feel good to put on, but they don't comply with federal laws and may not work. The FDA says regulations allow for marketing sunscreen as lotions, creams, sticks, and sprays, but not foam or mousse. Supergoop, though, says the product labeling FDA warning has nothing to do with the product's safety and effectiveness. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
You know, it's really, really helpful to have your own financial advisor because, well, as hard as you try, it's hard to stay on top of everything. And I think if you're interested in knowing if you're on track for eventually retiring someday in the way that you would like, call Jeff Sachs and the team at Sachs Financial, because sometimes you may just have a question. Having a good plan in place means that you don't have to sweat the daily details of the market. But also the other day I saw a news report that a record number of people are now dipping into their 401ks because times are tough and everything's expensive.
Try and avoid it when you can. It's always harder to put it back in. And there may be some tax ramifications. If you're a younger saver and you pull your money out of your 401k, you might not realize the additional taxes that you could face.
An expert on your side is a great relief. And at Sachs Financial, they simplify retirement, a plan in place. Just think of how you can relax and dream about your future retirement with Sachs Financial, SACHS, Sachs Financial, retire safe, STL.com.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life.
Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Seichmann Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is Total Information AM. It's 6:39. Also in the news this morning, St. Louis County Executive Sam Page answering questions for the first time since being indicted.
Page was indicted last month on 2 felony counts and 2 misdemeanor counts after allegedly misusing taxpayer funds on an anti-Prop B mailer to voters. In his first comments to the press since then, he maintains his innocence.
I don't believe I've done anything wrong. We'll cooperate fully with the investigation, and we'll continue to do the important work of St. Louis County, like being here today for this ribbon cutting.
Asked if he plans to run for re-election, Page says he has not made a decision and will make an announcement before the end of the year. State Senator Brian Williams announced he will run for the Democratic nomination, potentially against Page. Their primary is about a year from now. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
That ribbon cutting was for the completion of the $2 million New Baldwin Road project.
It is 6:40, time for us to get you updated on traffic and weather. It looks like a beautiful morning, so enjoy the next 2 days because the real heat starts this weekend. It's going to be very hot. Details on that after we check the roadways. The Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center is staffed by Roger Brand.
Hey, it's a little humid out there to start this morning off, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Pine Valley Assisted Living of Arnold. Some ground fog in some areas. I haven't seen it be an issue for drivers, but again, it is a little sweaty out there already this morning. Southbound 61, Highway P about midway down to Wentzville Parkway. You're slow, and it's getting busier on North 270. You're starting to bog down now just north of Doherty Ferry, all the way up to the Ladue restrictions in the work zone there. Southbound still okay, though. Northbound 55, a little more volume from Bayless in a couple of spots up to Virginia. Eastbound 30, east of Mauer to 270. Looks a little crowded. And on the Illinois side, we have a little bit of a backup. Eastbound 64, now it's about midway between 157 and 159, opening up just east of there. Again, that road work overnight hours, they have an additional lane restriction through 7 a.m. on the eastbound side. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Join Pine Valley Assisted Living of Arnold for a free movie day to see Freakier Friday on August 20th at 10 a.m. at the Arnold Cinema, which includes soda and popcorn. RSVP to Lisa Brennan, 314-283-5669.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. We have a 1:15 ball game today. I guess it won't be scorching hot at Busch Stadium for the fans.
You know, if this game were being played, say, Saturday or Sunday afternoon at 1:15, that would be an entirely different story. It's going to be about 87 for a high today, which means game time temperature probably going to be about 84, 85. Real feels will be topping 90. Need to stay hydrated. But again, this is not the hot stuff that's coming for the end of the week and the weekend. Tonight it'll be clear down to 71. More sun than clouds tomorrow with a high of 89. But then we turn up the heat. Starting Friday with sunshine, it's the start of a pretty brutal heat wave that'll last through at least Monday, if not Tuesday of next week. 97 Friday, upper 90s both Saturday and Sunday with real feels at least 105 each afternoon. Right now, it's 71 at St. Peter's, 73 in Florissant, humid, partly sunny, and 73 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is now 6:42, and the U.S. national debt has broken a record.
According to the Treasury Department, the U.S. government's gross national debt has surpassed $37 trillion, setting a new record. It reached this level years sooner than past projections expected because of heavy borrowing during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, if you don't like that number, well, it's not going to last. The Congressional Joint Economic Committee estimates another $1 trillion could be added in about 173 days. Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
As State House Democrats are considering a return to Texas, the state Senate has passed their version of the GOP-led congressional redistricting map.
Texas Republican House Speaker Dustin Burrows says if they're unable to get a quorum on Friday, they'll end the special session 5 days early and call a new one.
He is committed to calling us back again until our work is done.
This would start the entire process over again. Texas Governor Greg Abbott also threatening to redraw the new congressional map.
If Texas were to draw its maps the way that these Democrat states have drawn their maps, it could mean as many as maybe even 10-seat pickup.
Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
A new technique during heart surgery is improving recovery time and reducing the need for heavy painkillers. It involves freezing the patient's nerves. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand spoke with a doctor in Maryland who was one of the first to use the procedure, which is now growing nationwide.
David McKinney is recovering from open heart surgery, usually one that involves a lot of pain.
No pain even immediately post-op that you can recollect?
No.
Excellent. That's awesome.
As part of his surgery, McKinney underwent a special procedure first that's become the standard of care with Dr. David Caparelli, chief of cardiac surgery at Luminous Health Anne Arundel Medical Center. Dr. Caparelli is a consultant for the company that makes this machine. He showed us how it literally freezes away pain around the ribs.
Deep freezing the nerve and blocking the pain signals for 60 days.
60 days, and then your nerve should be back.
The nerves regenerate and sensation should be normal.
Known as cryonerve ablation, the technique had been used for lung and chest wall surgery, but Dr. Caparelli began applying it to his heart patients in 2021, calling it a game changer for recovery.
Up to 2 in 10 patients with open heart surgery can develop narcotic dependence. So if you don't start them on these medications, they can't become addicted to them.
The doctor says the technique also shortens a patient's time in the hospital and cuts down on pain-related complications.
6:45, Cardinals play today at 1:15, and they're hoping for some better fortune and some better bats. They hit the ball, but they hit it on the ground yesterday.
The 1-1 pitch for Wilson Contreras. Ground ball up the middle of the infield. Tovar gets it, flips to second. The bare hand catch by Farmer, and he throws to first to double up Wilson Contreras. On to third, Donovan with 2 outs.
John Rennie with the call on KMOX. That was in the first inning yesterday against lefty Kyle Freeland, and it continued.
Pozo hits a ground ball up the middle, and it's fielded by the second baseman Farmer, flipping to Tovar and on to first. That's a double play for Pozo, his third ground ball double play, and Freeland has thrown pitches for double plays in each of the first 2 innings.
Getting Wilson Contreras and Joel Pozo right there. Here's Ivan Herrera with a chance in the 6th.
Freeland deals a ground ball to the shortstop, out at second, out at first. A double play. The third time the Cardinals have rolled into a double play tonight.
One after the other, 3 double plays. They also could not drive in a runner in scoring position, and they had a problem all night with that. They were 0 for 9. They didn't score a run. Freeland ends up giving up just 5 hits, no runs allowed for Freeland. The lefty came in with a 2-12 record and a 5.5 ERA. That ERA is now 5.18, and he's now 3-12. The Cardinals lost the game 3-0. Couldn't get anything going. I always like hearing from Mason Wynn. He tells it like it is, and here he is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team we should beat. You know, it sucks. You know, it's weird. I feel like we play up to the Dodgers and we play down to Colorado. So. You know, that's how baseball is, man. It's up and down, but yeah, I mean, obviously we'd love to get those 3 games back for sure.
Cardinals have lost 3 games to the Rockies. They actually lost the series at Coors Field, and they've been shut out by Colorado twice. Colorado's only had 2 shutouts all year, and they both came at the expense of the Cardinals. Cards will try to get it going today, try to win the series, try to pull themselves back into what looked like an attempt at contention in the wild card standings, but they are 4 games out. Mostly you got to look at their record. They're just a game over 500. You have to be much better than that to be in contention in the National League. Your leaders right now in the NL wild card are the Cubs. They're the number 1 wild card team, but they are tied now with the Dodgers or the Padres. The Dodgers and Padres are tied at the top of the NL West. It's possible that the Dodgers could end up being a wild card in all of this, and the Mets have the third wild card with the Reds 2 back and the Cardinals 4 games back. Michael McGreevy is the starting pitcher this afternoon, and the Cardinals will go after another lefty, former Cardinal Austin Gomber. I'll have pregame coverage at noon from Ballpark Village. First pitch at 1:15 at Busch Stadium. Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. I'm going to get your attention here from St. Louis Composting. You ready for this? I told you that they sell bags of mulch. They also sell bags of soil. How would you like a Missouri Botanical Garden bag of compost? Black Gold compost from Missouri Botanical Garden. A green, sustainable material manufactured from grass clippings, leaves, small brush, and food residuals. It's available for pickup at Valley Park, Florissant Pacific, and Belleville, Illinois locations of St. Louis Composting. They also are offering bags of Missouri Botanical Garden raised bed mix, a blend of topsoil, sand, pine bark, fine, and black gold compost that is specifically designed for use in raised planting beds or planting box gardens. Again, that is Missouri Botanical Garden raised bed mix from St. Louis Composting. St. Louis Composting is not messing around. They have 9 locations in the St. Louis area, and they also deliver. You can just go to stlcompost.com to order online. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Hello, fellow Missourians. This is your Congressman, Bob Onder. My top priority is serving you. Whether you need help with a VA claim, Social Security, Medicare, or any other federal issue, my team and I are here to cut through the red tape and give you answers. In the last 6 months alone, we have returned over $1 million to taxpayers. Call my office or visit my website, onder.house.gov, to learn more. Missouri is my home, and I'm honored to serve you in D.C.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:50. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just slowed traffic in a few areas right now, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. It's slow on southbound 61. P about midway down to the Parkway, and then from the Wentzville Parkway area down to 64, a little crowded. It bogs down both sides of Winghaven after that. If you're on northbound 270, approaching Doherty Ferry all the way up to Ladue, just a heavy slowdown the whole way through on that run. Eastbound 30, Mauer up to 270 is busy. It backs up at the top end of the hill just a little bit. Northbound 55 from just north of the Union Road overpass all the way up through Virginia, just a lot of slow going there. And on the Illinois side, we have a little bit of a jam. Eastbound 64 approaching 159, roadwork going on between there and Greenmount Road. They should have that additional lane restriction removed in about 10 minutes, I guess. Really supposed to be wrapped up by 7. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 178-year Young Mutual Company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, here's that weather forecast from AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. Hot and humid. Actually, today's not too bad. Partly sunny and humid, says Joe, a high of 87. Tonight, clear and humid, low 71. Tomorrow, a little hotter. Sun and clouds, high of 89. Then Friday, we get into some scorching heat. High of 97 for Friday, 98 Saturday, 99 on Sunday, with real field temperatures hovering around 105 and above, says Joe. Right now, we have a mostly clear sky in downtown St. Louis. It's 71 degrees.
The news continues at 6:52. Sports betting is inching closer and closer to the finish line with a hearing today.
FanDuel, DraftKings, and Circa are all going to present their case to the Missouri Gaming Commission for one of 2 available, what we call untethered bids or licenses.
Ryan Butler of the gaming publication Covers tells us if the companies don't get one of these untethered licenses, they'll have to have a physical presence in the state in order to accept bets. There are two ways to do that. First, own one of the 13 casinos, or two, sign with a pro sports team to open in their stadium. The Cardinals are already signed with Bet365, which Butler says leaves 5 Missouri teams as gaming free agents: the Blues, City, Chiefs, Royals, and Current.
Current would be the National Women's Soccer League team in Kansas City. Adjustments to the juvenile detention assessment point system could be coming when the Missouri legislature returns to session, according to State Senator Steve Butts. He says there are too many violent offenses that do not result in detention.
If we have juveniles with a gun and firing the gun, I just think that has to be reassessed. That's a high level of violence, and they need to be held until there's a hearing.
The issue has gained attention after a 16-year-old was arrested for allegedly carjacking a rideshare driver at gunpoint twice in back-to-back nights.
The St. Louis area will be the center for aerospace chatter as a 2-day summit kicks off. It's the inaugural Global Aerospace Summit focused on elevating aerospace innovation, collaboration, and growth. Mary Lamy with Multimodal Enterprises says it will also highlight and showcase to companies from around the country what's happening here.
These aerospace companies are investing in this area. We have a very robust workforce, but we've got our work cut out for us. They are expanding and they are creating close to 1,000 jobs.
So there will be panel discussions on helping students access different programs and training initiatives. Lamy says you'd think these companies compete with each other, but she says everyone's working together to strengthen the industry.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
The KMOX birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. By the way, if you want to know how to get a birthday or anniversary announced on the air, the email is totalam@KMOX.com. Totalam@KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Sherry Herbeck, Mike Carnes, Marianne Papachel, and Amy Reuther.
This is the best birthday ever.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
If you or a loved one is hoping to age with purpose and independence at home, you are not alone. And that is why it's important to have a trusted partner that can make all the difference. In the St. Louis region, we are so fortunate to have EverTrue Anywhere Care. EverTrue Anywhere Care, formerly known as Lutheran Senior Services. Now, you may be familiar with some of EverTrue's local life plan communities, but you may not be aware that they've also been providing world-class in-home services for nearly 20 years as part of their nonprofit mission, older adults living life to the fullest. EverTrue Anywhere Care has an array of services for older adults who want to continue living safely at home. That includes physical, occupational, speech therapy, professional care management, and chronic condition support. They will listen, understand your needs, and they'll create a plan that brings you peace of mind right to your door. Sometimes it's hard to even know where to start when you need some of these services. So do yourself or your loved one a favor. If you're searching for at-home caregiving, call 314-597-6498 or visit evertrueanywherecare.org. That's evertrueanywherecare.org.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at insurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission, $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-380-9012. 800-380-9012. Again, that's 800-380-9012.
Well, Pappy's Smokehouse is going to be temporarily closed today and tomorrow after a large sinkhole formed near the entrance of the restaurant. It formed yesterday in their Midtown restaurant, 3106 Olive Street. That is in a social media post the restaurant shared that the sinkhole has caused some flooding issues, Roger Brand. So no barbecue for the next couple of days. Hope they get that open because they're going to get a lot of people in town for Cards Yankees this weekend. You're in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, that's going to be a big series. Big rain yesterday, though. Man, oh man, that just dumped downtown and flooded it out for quite a while. But it's except for things like that, as far as interstate travel go, things have recuperated for you, at least on the drive in this morning. North 270 is busy right now from Big Bend to Doherty Ferry and then approaching Manchester all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 30, Mauer to 270 is a little more solid. Northbound 55 looking at some slow traffic from Bayless up through River to Pear, pretty bunched up through most of that. Southbound 61, north of Wentzville Parkway down to 64, and then 364 past Winghaven is kind of busy. Downtown we look okay, westbound across the bridges, and that roadwork delay we had eastbound 64 east of 159 has dissipated. It looks like they picked that up. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Wednesday, August 13th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
St. Louis police still conducting the investigation into last month's death of a City Justice Center detainee. I'm Maria Aquina with what the DFLB's chairman is saying.
I'm Tom Ackerman. A Missouri state senator is pushing for changes to the juvenile detention system after a teenager was arrested twice for carjacking rideshare drivers.
Sports betting apps are closer to getting their licenses, but when will you be able to place a bet? I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
President Trump will try to convince Ukraine's president to join his face-to-face meeting with Russia's president on Friday.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It'll be very warm and humid today with sun and some clouds, high 87.
Day game for the Cardinals, 1:15 start against the Rockies after losing last night.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump's just called European leaders great people as he gets set for a virtual meeting ahead of Friday's summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin on winding down the war in Ukraine. Correspondent Weijia Jiang.
The White House press secretary says they do not expect the meeting between Trump and Putin to end with, quote, deliverables. The hope is that it will lead to a three-way meeting with those two leaders, plus Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
The BBC's James Waterhouse.
I think the concern here is that they will talk about territory and the idea of handing it over in some instances, or the idea of some kind of compromise. And we've heard Zelensky say we can't hand over territory because it'll just allow Russia to build further attacks in the future.
Hundreds of National Guard troops have begun arriving on the streets of the nation's capital on orders of President Trump as part of his plan to curb crime and homelessness. This man lives in the district.
The police need help. They know what they're doing. They just need more support and bigger numbers.
Numbers show crime in D.C. is at its lowest level in 30 years. A judge has temporarily blocked immigration officials from holding detainees at a federal building in New York City.
The ACLU and other advocates sued ICE last week, claiming the conditions at 26 Federal Plaza in Lower Manhattan are unsanitary. Arada Wauda is the CEO of the New York Immigration Coalition.
Some sleeping on the floor, all having to share one bathroom,
while getting only 2 meals a day and no hygiene products. This woman's husband was held there for 6 days.
They treated them like animals.
The temporary restraining order blocks ICE from housing detainees there until it improves the conditions. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A big appliance maker has plans to return more jobs to the U.S.
We bring good things to life.
General Electric says it'll shift production of refrigerators, gas ranges, and water heaters from China and Mexico as part of a more than $3 billion expansion at facilities in Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina. Emergency officials in Juneau are urging many people to leave the Alaskan capital because of glacial flooding brought on by warmer temperatures. City manager Robert Barr.
Last year, we had in the kind of neighborhood of 300 homes impacted by flooding. This year, I would hope to see that number in the double digits instead of the triple
The
digits.
fear, a glacial outburst when the Mendenhall River crests at around 4 p.m. local time today. Officials in L.A. have busted up a scheme to sell a bunch of hot mini monsters on the black market. Police say they found 14 boxes of stolen Labubu dolls at a home in Chino while they were investigating a series of thefts from a local warehouse. A teenager was arrested as he tried to run away. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
At 7:04, it's sunny and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. After an Uber driver and a Lyft driver were carjacked at gunpoint by the same teenager last week in St. Louis, the juvenile detention assessment point system is gearing up to be a hot topic when the legislature returns to session.
The issue has become a topic that has garnered statewide attention after a teen was arrested twice in a little over 24 hours for allegedly carjacking a rideshare with a firearm. State Senator Steve Butts tells KMOX a juvenile's use of a firearm in the furtherance of a crime should be enough to warrant detention until there's a hearing.
I think we're seeing with this recent armed carjackings that once a gun is introduced into the crime, the points assessed have to go up.
Butts says this does not mean the point system isn't working, just that it needs tweaking. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Missouri juvenile courts use a point system to determine whether a juvenile should be held in secure detention. This system uses a written checklist of criteria to rate juveniles for specific risks related to detention. The overall risk score helps determine if that juvenile should be detained, placed in an alternative program, or released.
KMOX continues to follow where the investigation stands into the most recent detainee death at the City Justice Center. Maria Kina talked with the chairman of the Detention Facilities Oversight Board.
Last week, he and Mayor Kara Spencer made an unannounced visit at the City Justice Center.
We visited the area where the young man died. I know the mayor asked questions. We are limited to what we can say as a DFOB because the ordinance says that while there's a police investigation, we cannot investigate.
31-year-old Samuel Hayes Jr. was found unresponsive in a restraint chair in the CJC following an altercation with another detainee last month. The St. Louis Police Department's Force Investigative Unit is handling the investigation, but has not provided any updates. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The Francis Howell School District starts the new year without a superintendent and calls for an investigation. Dr. Mike Dominguez was supposed to take over as superintendent on July 1st. Instead, just days before that, the district announced that due to unforeseen circumstances, Dominguez was out and he walked away with a $229,000 payout. 4 days later, an Oklahoma school district announced they'd hired him. That has the Holy Joe Society, a nonprofit civic organization, calling on the Attorney General and the state auditor to investigate. They point out that an audit of the district in December gave Francis Howell not just a poor rating, but the lowest possible poor rating. The district says legally it can't say any more about the settlement with Dominguez.
Attorney General Andrew Bailey continues his efforts to end abortions in Missouri despite the passage of Amendment 3 last November. And Tuesday, the Missouri Supreme Court unanimously ruled that Bailey's attempt to get the high court to reinstate a ban was in error, that he should not have skipped the Court of Appeals in his attempt to overturn an injunction issued by a Jackson County judge. That judge, Jerry Zhang, issued the temporary injunction because she hasn't yet ruled on a lawsuit over the fact that the amendment legalizing abortion didn't directly repeal state laws banning or regulating it. For the time being, doctors can continue providing abortion services.
The race is on. Who's got your bet to win? The first 3 applicants to bring sports betting to Missouri make their case to the Missouri Gaming Commission today. They are DraftKings, FanDuel, and Circa. 3 applicants, but only 2 spots available for what are considered app-only licenses, meaning not connected to an in-state casino or a stadium sportsbook. And while the 2 licenses are going to be awarded on Friday...
When will people be able to actually take advantage of this?
Yeah, and again, the big thing is December 1st. Keep it going. The Monday, December 1st, the big star there with it, that's going to be the launch date.
Ryan Butler of the gaming publication Covers says the commissioners will consider in part how each app plans to market itself.
December 1st will be well into football season, but right at the time of some big football games, that's for sure. We'll check traffic and weather next at 7:08.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems. And we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's get you an update at 7:10 on traffic and weather. We'll start with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we just had a call out for EMS for a crash. Looks like it's 3 vehicles. It's on the right shoulder, eastbound 70, just east of our city, between there and 270. Traffic's just starting to slow a bit approaching our city on eastbound 70 right now. We'll see when the emergency crews show up if they block a lane and make it a little worse, but just be advised that's out there currently. But again, it's not blocking at this time. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64 is kind of slow, and 64 from 364 through Winghaven, almost midway into Cade, is sort of bogged down. Northbound 270, Big Bend all the way to Ladue is busy. We're seeing a pretty solid jam now. You know, some couple days last week we had this backup eastbound 30. You're backed up from West Watson solid now all the way up through 270. So just be prepared if you're headed that way. Northbound 55 is slow from Union headed up to about Weber. On the Illinois side, though, things look great. They picked up that eastbound 64 roadwork and westbound across the bridges. You're good to go. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, what does today look like?
Today will be very warm and humid with sunshine and some clouds and a high of 87. Mainly clear tonight, low 71. Tomorrow, sunshine, some clouds, quite warm and rather humid, high 89. Mostly sunny Friday, hot and humid with a high of 97. And AccuWeather real field temperatures reaching 105. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, sunny and 72 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:12. Buying lunch with gold or paying your taxes in silver will soon be a real option in Missouri. A new law backed by State Rep Bill Hardwick allows precious metals to be used as currency in everyday transactions. Hardwick tells MissouriNet participation is entirely voluntary for businesses.
Nobody has to do anything. It's just another option that a business can accept these. Some states, they call them gold backs. They look kind of like dollar bills, this tangible, fixed quantity currency that they can use to transact and barter goods and services.
Hardwick, a Republican from southern Missouri, says it's simply another tool people can use to protect themselves against the unpredictable fluctuations in the value of the dollar.
Phase 2 of construction of a village of tiny homes for veterans is underway. When completed, there will be 50 transition homes for vets. Panels and roof trusses have been delivered, according to Veterans Community Project Executive Director Rebecca Tallman, a veteran herself.
Individual homes are 240 square foot. Our family homes are 320 square foot and can sleep up to 5.
The homes are fully furnished and can even include things like pots and pans that they can take with them when they transition to permanent housing.
A new Anti-Defamation League report is highlighting progress in the Missouri legislature to combat anti-Semitism.
The ADL's new tool, Jewish Policy Index, evaluates every state's response to anti-Semitism through legislation, education, and public policy. ADL's Jordan Kadosh says Missouri is doing pretty good.
It covers a lot of steps that the legislature and the executive branch have taken over the years to adopt the IRA definition, to pass anti-BDS legislation. A lot of focus in Missouri on Holocaust education, and I know that mandate is going to roll out statewide this year.
The report comes just days after a hate crime investigation in Clayton, where 3 cars were set on fire and anti-Semitic graffiti was found scribbled onto Westmoreland Avenue. Clayton schools had just announced before that attack that the district was adopting the ADL's No Place for Hate program at 2 of their schools. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Also in the news, before we get to sports, the WNBA. Multiple pro women's basketball games have been interrupted in recent days after brightly colored sex toys were thrown onto the courts.
Assistant Director of American Culture Studies at WashU, Noah Cohen, says the message that the perpetrators are trying to send is that women aren't welcome in sports.
And one way to do that is to sexualize them. And one way to sexualize them is to use a sex toy.
The offenders say they're just trying to be funny and create a viral moment.
But it's part of a centuries-long attempt to keep women out of sports. Unfortunately for the perpetrators, the WNBA is here to stay. It's growing. It's bigger than ever. That may be part of the reason they chose it.
The Women's National Basketball Association has condemned the actions and promised bans and prosecution. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Let's start with the WNBA. And Sophie Cunningham, the Mizzou grad, had 14 points last night, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, knocked down 2 of 4 from three-point range, played 35 minutes. She's doing all she can with Caitlin Clark out for the Indiana Fever with an injury, but Dallas beat Indiana 81-80 in Indianapolis last night. New York over Los Angeles 105-97. New York, the second-ranked team in the WNBA, with Indiana 6th right now. The Fever with a record of 18-15. Pretty short drive over to Indianapolis if you can snag a ticket. That is a very tough ticket to go see the Indiana Fever in downtown Indianapolis. As for Busch Stadium, there have been many available tickets to see the Cardinals. Maybe not so much this weekend when the Cardinals take on the New York Yankees, but they need to play a lot better than they did last night. That was a disappointing one. Our broadcasters have the latest.
With Mike Claiborne, I'm John Rooney. The Cardinals came back to win on Monday night 3-2 on Brendan Donovan's 2-run pinch double. But last night, the Cardinals couldn't put any offense together, and Kyle Freeland went 7 1/3 innings to beat the Cardinals. A home run by Goodman gave them a 2-0 lead. They tacked on a run for a 3-0 final.
Well, the Cardinals had their chances. They grounded into 3 double plays on the night. They couldn't push a run across the plate, and you have to tip your cap to what Freeland was able to do, along with what Colorado was able to do in their bullpen. The Cardinal bullpen was pretty good also, going 5 innings, giving up 1 hit.
But Matthew Liberatore was perfect for 3 and then hit a wall.
He hit the wall, and then when the Goodman home run took place, it was nights out for him. So the question is, what happens next for him?
Up next for the Cardinals, a chance to win 2 out of 3 behind Michael McGreevy. And we're on the air at 12:20 from Busch Stadium today.
With more on Liberator, here's KMOX's Matt Pauley.
For a fifth straight start, Matthew Liberator cannot make it out of the fifth inning. His velocity drops in the fifth, continuing a trend since he did not pitch for close to 2 weeks around the All-Star break. While you might not see the progress in the box score, manager Oliver Marmol sees it as Liberator is able to increase the number of pitches before his velocity did drop.
He was able to hold for an extra 25, 30 pitches this time, right around 70. So that's actually a good thing. Obviously, you want him to get through 5, get through 6 innings, and that's kind of your barometer of if it went well or not. But it's more so how many pitches can you go with holding it? And we had a pretty good increase from 40 to 70 today, so we feel good about that.
Over his last 5 starts, Liberator is 0-4 with a 5.95 ERA. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Cardinals are 4 games out of the final wild card spot in the National League. The team they're chasing, the New York Mets, finally won a ball game. They had lost 7 in a row. They hammered the Braves 13-5 yesterday, and Pete Alonso, their slugger, connected for his 253rd career home run. That breaks the Mets franchise record held by Darryl Strawberry for 37 years. Player to bank on, brought to you by Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
104.1 FM, KMOX, News, Talk, Sports.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-311-9595. That's 800-311-9595.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:20. This is Total Information AM. And as they say, the man said in the little promo there, that's Tom Ackerman over there. I'm Debbie Monterrey. Here's Roger Brand. He joins us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Getting a little bit busier on eastbound Highway 70, Debbie. First of all, a little slowdown at Wentzville Parkway, but it's bogged down east of 94. This crash I mentioned last time up eastbound 70 before 270 on the right shoulder, but it looks like the right lane may still be blocked. The emergency crews look like they have departed the scene, but it looks like maybe the right lane's still blocked, so it's a little backed up east of the Blanchett to that point. Once you get around it, then, of course, you're good to go. Southbound 61 Wentzville Parkway down to 64 is slow. There's a little slowdown approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and then 364 to a point east of Winghaven. A little busy at Research Park, a little slow at the Innerbelt, and east of Clarkson briefly as well. South 270, Olive down to 64 slow. North 270, bogs down approaching Tesson Ferry to Gravois, and then 44 all the way up to Ladue is busy. Eastbound 30, that's a solid jam again. from the Merrimack River all the way up the hill to 270, bumper to bumper. We had that a couple days last week, and we're seeing that again this morning right now. Northbound 55, the right lane's busy at Butler Hill. From the Union Road overpass all the way up to Virginia, it's heavy. Illinois side, westbound 64, just a little busy at the 70 split. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
That weather does not feature rain. It is going to be hot and humid, says Joe Lundberg, for the next several days. High of 87 today, low 71 tonight. Tomorrow's high 89. Then we get really hot for the weekend. It's going to feel like 105 each day. 97 Friday, 98 Saturday, 99 degrees on Sunday, says Joe. Currently, it's sunny and 72 in Florissant, 72 in St. Peter's, 72 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Spire, your natural gas provider. Spire has a fresh new look coming your way. They're updating their envelope color from orange to white.
I miss the orange.
In August, be on the lookout for your Spire natural gas bill arriving in a fresh white envelope.
The news continues at 7:22. New documents and video footage unveiled this week shed more light on the gunman and the police response in the Uvalde Elementary School massacre of 2022. A former student opened fire, killing 19 students and 2 teachers, injuring 17 others.
Hours of never-before-seen footage released this week by authorities in Uvalde from the day of the massacre at Robb Elementary School in 2022. The move prompted by a lawsuit by a number of media outlets pushing for rightful access. The footage reveals more disturbing moments. It was longer than an hour before police killed the shooter as they looked for a key to unlock a door that turns out was never locked.
These are innocent children, sir. Please talk to me. Please talk to me, sir.
The video and records include moments before the massacre when the gunman shot his grandmother.
Salvador Ramos. Apparently he just shot his grandmother.
Family members heard calling for police to kill the shooter.
Get him! Get him!
Help us, help us.
He's doing it because his mom and everybody.
The records released include text messages, personnel files, and student records tied to Salvador Ramos. Documents show that he had some behavior issues, including hitting other kids and using bad language. He also failed state tests and had a lot of absences. Friends and family of the victim spoke with Fox 26 TV.
I don't think there's anything in those records that's going to be valuable to fact finding. Like, I think most of the information, and we already know what happened,
Well, the records bring frustration and heartache back to the forefront for victims' families. Some say the release takes them another step toward closure. I'm Clayton Neville.
Following President Trump's order to crack down on crime and address homelessness, members of the National Guard and FBI agents have been deployed to the streets of Washington, D.C., leading to some arrests and gun confiscations. This brings skepticism from some D.C. residents who wonder if the plan will work.
I've been homeless before, so I know how it is when it comes to that. So it's like, I have empathy for them, so I don't think removing them is going to solve anything.
I feel like there's been an increase of almost racial profiling and stuff. So it's I guess it's concerning for, I think, individuals who, I guess, are just worried about how they might be perceived while they're going about their day-to-day life.
I think Trump's trying to help people, some people, I think, but as far as he trying to get homeless out of the city, though, that ain't gonna work.
A day after President Trump ordered federal forces to take over Washington, D.C.'s police department, it's unclear how long the surge will last. The law allows the president to control the department for a month.
We will reevaluate and reassess and make further decisions after this 30-day period is up. But within these 30 days, our entire focus is making sure that this is the most efficient operation possible.
The White House would need congressional approval to extend that takeover. For now, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the focus is on making the operation efficient.
A total of 6 illegal handguns were seized off of District of Columbia streets as part of last night's effort. This is only the beginning. Over the course of the next month, the Trump administration will relentlessly pursue and arrest every violent criminal in the district who breaks the law, undermines public safety, and endangers law-abiding Americans.
Yesterday, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser called the president's action unsettling. Today, she met with Attorney General Pam Bondi and says the priority is making the most of it.
What I'm focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we have. How we got here, or what we think about the circumstances. Right now, we have more police, and we want to make sure we're using them.
Meantime, some of the 800 National Guard members the president's deployed here have started reporting for duty. Sagar Magani, Washington.
The Trump administration will review Smithsonian museums and exhibits.
A White House letter to Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution Lonnie Bunch follows up on President Trump's March executive order calling for the removal of what he termed improper ideology. It's timed with next year's 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence in mind. The letter states the aim is to celebrate American exceptionalism and remove what it calls partisan or divisive narratives. The Smithsonian says it remains committed to factual history and is reviewing the letter. Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
Problems continue to mount at the abandoned Millennium Hotel in downtown St. Louis. I'm Maria Aquino with what police are saying.
She'll have that coming up. Right now, it's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. It is back to school time already. Hard to believe, but a good time to assess. Did you use your outdoor space this summer? Did you use it as much as you thought you would? Did you find maybe your deck is starting to really wear out and splinter and warp? Or maybe you went to a couple of outdoor barbecues and thought, you know what? I would love to do this with our backyard. Good time to call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, because Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been at this now for 57 years. A locally owned, third-generation, family-owned company with an incredible reputation, thousands and thousands of satisfied customers, because Chesterfield Fence and Deck offers you true value. It's not going to be your cheapest bid, but it's going to be quality work that lasts for years to come. Not something that you plunk down the money and you have to replace it in a season or two. Whether you're looking at a deck, a patio, a pergola, a sunroom, a screen room, all of the above, and then some, Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. Mention me, Debbie Monterrey, and they will offer you 48 months interest-free financing. That'll certainly help. They do free project design, or maybe you already know exactly what you want. Whatever, it's fine. Stop by and see them, or they'll come to you with free in-home estimates. It's chesterfieldfence.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh, my Bob! Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Right now, we have a sunny sky in downtown St. Louis. It's 72 degrees. I'm Tom Ackerman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Police are still out there with this minor crash. It's on the shoulder, eastbound 70. just before you get to 270, but folks seem to be staying out of that right lane just as a courtesy, I think. But you're bogged down approaching 94 into that point on eastbound 70. It's still a little slow. Wentzville Parkway into Highway Z out west as well. Southbound 61 isn't bad, but it's still slow on to 64 to Prospect. Stop and go pockets now from 364 past Wing Haven, 94 to Research Park, slow, a little slow around the Chesterfield Parkways, and briefly at the Intervale to about Big Bend. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley, slow, more volume south 270 approaching 364 Page down to 64, North 270, really from 55 up through Gravois and 44 all the way to Ladue is busy. Eastbound 30, not as bad as it was. That jam we had is dissipated, but there's still a backup approaching Mauer, and then it's slow from there up to 270. Northbound 55, just the ramp on to 270 is a little slow. It is backed up from about the Union Road overpass to Bayless, but remains heavy from there up to Virginia. Downtown 5570, approaching 203 into Exchange, and that work zone starting to back up. 64 slow from Ball Avenue to 70 split, and then just heavy on the Poplar. Next update at 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be pretty nice today and tomorrow, but by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's going to be really hot. Today, partly sunny, humid 87. Tomorrow, more sun than clouds, humid and 89. Right now in downtown St. Louis, it's sunny and 72.
It's 732. State Senator Brian Williams is running for the Democratic nominee for St. Louis County Executive. Will Sam Page run for re-election even after being indicted?
After being indicted for allegedly using taxpayer dollars for an improper campaign mailer, I asked the county executive if he has plans to run again.
Are you still running for re-election?
We'll make that decision at the end of the year.
So you haven't decided yet?
Well, you always keep your options open, but I'll decide. I'll make a formal announcement by the end of the year.
Page says he does not believe he has done anything wrong. At least two of his fellow Democrats on the county council have called for him to resign. Asked about Williams' announcement, Page declined to comment. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
An iconic part of the St. Louis skyline, the Millennium Hotel, is slated for demolition, but it's still causing problems for police. KMOX's Maria Kina reports on the trouble brewing at the vacant downtown building.
One of the break-ins resulted in an arrest Tuesday morning, but this is by far not the only problem. St. Louis police have responded to 54 calls at the Millennium between last August and yesterday. They range from arsons, disturbances, prowlers, and calls for help. Police tell KMOX they have and are continuing to have multiple conversations with property representatives, yet those representatives have made no effort to secure the abandoned hotel. KMOX was told by police they do not have answers to our question whether or not they can compel Millennium representatives to secure the property.
Did you ever go to Incredible Pizza? Well, it is.
I may have been to one or two birthday parties there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
many.
it's shutting down its South County location, and there's an online auction for a number of the games, rides, and restaurant fixtures. According to the Business Journal, any gift cards or tickets can be redeemed through August 17th.
I'm going to bid on all those things and put them in my basement. Party at my
All
house.
right, I'm coming over. Let's go. Let's play some. Can you get like skee ball in there? Would that be amazing?
Yeah, I think that they're auctioning off stuff like that.
Oh, I want some skee ball. Oh, Angie will totally go for skee ball in my basement. Yeah, awesome. 734. This news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
It is 7:36, and this is Total Information AM. It is time for your money report. It's sponsored this hour by Busey Bank.
Good morning. We had that CPI report on consumer prices yesterday showing benign inflation, and that's adding fuel to the fire about a possible interest rate cut right around the corner. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says he thinks the Fed should be open to cutting interest rates by a 0.5 percentage point. Record closing highs for the S&P and NASDAQ yesterday. A federal judge has ruled billionaire Elon Musk has to face claims by OpenAI that Musk's attacks on the startup amount to a years-long harassment campaign. The judge refusing Musk's request to brush aside allegations he tried to sabotage OpenAI's success to gain advantage for his own generative AI startup, XAI. And Venus Williams is getting a new Barbie, part of Mattel's Inspiring Women collection. The $38 doll wears all white and sports a green gem necklace, what Williams wore while winning Wimbledon in 2007, the first time a woman got equal prize money as men at a top-level tennis tournament. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. So this is August, and that is Pet Appreciation Month for Zero Res. We love our pets. I love my pets. They are a part of the family, no doubt about it. But the rest of my family doesn't poop and pee on the carpeting. Well, Nick sometimes. So if you are having that same sort of trouble with your pets that I do, just reach out to Zero Res, because the deal this month is 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, 15% off your pet odor treatments, and $50 off your air duct cleaning. They are going to be on time. They're going to be accurate with their bids. They are going to be compassionate. They're going to be professional. They're going to work their tails off, and they have the 30-day gotta love it guarantee, which means if they don't blow you away, have them back. 314-474-2020, or you can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
It's the annual KMOX Blood Drive with the American Red Cross, August 21st from 2 to 7 at multiple locations. Everyone who attempts to donate receives a $15 e-gift card. Make an appointment in the Red Cross Blood Donor app or at redcrossblood.org and enter KMOX for a drive near you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Today, the Cards, the Rockies, Allen Total Access 1220. Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, it's 7:40. Roger Brand, what are you up to, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, looking at a lot of slow traffic, Tom. No surprise, I guess, as traffic reports the service of Anderson Hospital. They do have that right lane blocked. I guess they're waiting for tow trucks for that crash. Eastbound 70 east of our city. Traffic's not a solid jam, but it's bogged down back through 94 right now. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway, on to 64, all the way in past Winghaven is pretty busy. It's slow coming out of the valley through Clarkson. It's slow again east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 backed up Science Center to Clayton Skinker, but it's slow to Big Bend. South 270 almost Dorset to Ladue now is busy. North 270 pretty much as you ramp on from 55 all the way up to Ladue, and it's actually jammed 44 through Big Bend in the middle of it. 44 between Bowles and Ross, a little heavy. Northbound 55 Union up to Virginia slow. 5570 approaching 203. 64 at 25th Street through that 70 split, and then it's heavy approaching the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Serving the Metro East region with excellence, Anderson Hospital is proud to be named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025. Experience world-class care close to home. AndersonHospital.org.
It is 7:42. Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. Looks like we'll be cranking the AC by the weekend.
Oh, no question about it, Debbie. The heat is going to be turned up without question for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and probably Tuesday. It looks like a 5-day stretch of temperatures mid to upper 90s each day. Ahead of it, not so bad today. With more sun than clouds, we'll get to about 87. Tonight should be cleared, low 71. Sunshine, some clouds, and very warm tomorrow, high 89. But we'll turn up the heat for Friday with sunshine. We get to 97. Upper 90s with sunshine both days of the weekend. With the real feels, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at least 105. Right now in St. Louis, we've got 71 degrees at St. Peter's, 74 in Florissant, and mostly sunny at 74 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:42. President Donald Trump will meet virtually today with Ukraine's president and European allies before his in-person meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday. Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Germany for the meeting. The White House continues to lower expectations for the Alaska summit, calling it a listening exercise for Trump. CBS News White House correspondent Weijia Zhang with more.
The White House press secretary says they do not expect the meeting between Trump and Putin to end with, quote, deliverables. The hope is that it will lead to a three-way meeting with those two leaders, plus Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. A White House official tells CBS News the meeting will take place at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson on the northern edge of Anchorage. Zelensky continues to question, though, Putin's motives and said he believes the Russian leader is just looking for photo ops with Trump. On Tuesday, he posted on X, "We must shape positions that will not allow Russia to deceive the world once again." And he said this morning there is no sign that the Russians are preparing to end the war. Zelensky also told reporters that Ukraine would not give up territory to Russia as it is against his country's constitution. He stressed the land was being illegally occupied. That issue is sure to come up when Trump speaks with Zelensky and European leaders today. As for that big meeting on Friday, the White House says many details are still being hashed out.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Fevered phone consultations underway this hour on this side of the Atlantic. European leaders brainstorming among themselves and with Ukraine's President Zelensky ahead of an online call with President Trump later today. They hope they can persuade Trump to take a tough line with Putin at Friday's summit. They fear the implications for Ukraine's and for their own future security if he doesn't.
Abortions will continue in Missouri after the state Supreme Court unanimously refused to take up Attorney General Andrew Bailey's request to reinstate restrictions. In its ruling Tuesday, the court determined that the case must be heard in a lower court first, citing an error in bypassing the Court of Appeals. The legal challenge stems from a temporary injunction issued by a Jackson County judge who's presiding over a lawsuit arguing that November's Amendment 3 did not directly repeal previous state laws banning or regulating abortion. So for now, doctors can continue providing abortion services. Following the decision, Attorney General Bailey took to X, calling the ruling disappointing but not surprising, and says, "We will not back down."
Yesterday on the Gas House Gang, Bernie Miklasz brought this to Ollie Marmol's attention.
Don't you know if you were out of it? Yeah, I mean, you had Helsley, Maton, and Matz traded. You were cooked. season over, forget about it? What the heck who do you guys think you are?
No, that's perfectly put, and that's probably plays to our personality really well. These guys are playing with house money. They got nothing to lose, and that's a fun spot to be in. You lose three key arms out of the pen, and at the end of the day, man, you approach the game with play fast, trust your instincts, take risks, and see what you're capable of doing. And our guys have created a little bit of an identity around that. They're going to continue to, but it's been fun, man. Our hitters meetings, just listening to our guys talk about the game, the previous game, and talk about how they want to approach the following game. There's an intensity to it.
That was after a 3-2 win over the Rockies, opening up a series against Colorado after beating the Dodgers 2 games out of 3 and beating the Cubs 2 out of 3. Well, last night did not go the Cardinals' way, Matt Pauley. It was a tough one to say the least. The Cardinals couldn't find a run, couldn't buy a hit in many situations against a Rockies team that shut them out for the second time this season.
It's a frustrating 3-0 loss for the Cardinals to the Rockies. Colorado starter Kyle Freeland enters with a 5.5 ERA, but goes 7 1/3 scoreless innings. Manager Oliver Marmol doesn't think that tells the story of the quality of at-bats that his team takes.
To throw 7 1/3 with 2 punch outs and no runs, a lot has to go your way. So I do feel like we took some pretty good swings and nothing to show for it.
Of the 17 hardest exit velocities in the game, the Cardinals had 15 of them, but it does not bear fruit. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
And we told you if the Cardinals are going to climb back into contention, they're going to have to pitch well. They've got to score runs, though. You've been shut out twice by the Rockies. The Rockies have only had 2 shutouts all year, and they have both come at expense of the Cardinals. So the Cardinals are 4 games out in the National League wildcard race. The wildcard race featuring the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Mets. Yes, I said the Dodgers, because the NL West right now is a tie between the Dodgers and the Padres. Dodgers lost 7-6 to the Angels. Padres beat the Giants 5-1. So Mike Schultz, San Diego Padres are now in a first-place tie in the division with the Dodgers. The Mets are the 3rd wild card team, the Reds 2 back, and the Cardinals 4 back. Cards and Rockies this afternoon at 1:15. I'll have pregame coverage at noon from Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village. Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbrook Resort, where every day is the weekend. Last weekend, we had a great time at Innsbrook. We rented a home there. We were right on Lake Aspen, which is a great lake. We did a little kayaking. We did some fishing. Audrey caught a monster catfish that I posted on X, and people commented that they hadn't seen a fish or caught a fish that big. I haven't either. It's Audrey's fish of a lifetime, maybe. We'll see. She's pretty good at it. She caught a monster out there. We just had a great time, concerts on Saturday nights. We enjoyed that. Innsbrook's just a great place to relax and unwind. Great vacation spot. And the best part, it's right here in the St. Louis area. It was only a 45-minute drive from our home to get to Innsbrook. Innsbrook-resort.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville, Thursday, August 14th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or a picture with City SC left back Jay Reed. Register to win great prizes. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Wentzville, the place to be Thursday, August 14th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
All right, 7:50. If you're just leaving the house, how do the roads look? Are you going to make it on time? Are you going to be stuck somewhere? Roger Brand probably knows a lot more about that than I do, because he's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still a lot of slow going out there, Debbie. Eastbound 70 still a little busy. Wentzville Parkway, Highway Z area, it's bogged down. Lake St. Louis into Highway K, it's slow. 94 into Earth City, where that crash is still on the shoulder between Earth City and 270, and then still bogged down from there really into the airport. So there's a lot of volume. 364, same thing. Eastbound, east of Bryan Road through K, through Gudermuth, across the Veterans Bridge toward 141, and then approaching Bennington. That's all busy. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 through Prospect, 364 through Winghaven, Annie Guns through Clarkson, east of Lindbergh all the way through the Innerbelt, westbound 64 jam, Kings Highway out through Bellevue, south 170 bogs down at Olive, south 270 backs up at 364, then it's slow to Ladue, north 270 from Tesson Ferry all the way to Ladue is busy. Stop and go stuff through Big Bend Doherty Ferry. 44 is backed up, a little slow approaching Miraz, but backed up from Lindbergh all the way into Elm. Looks like there could be an incident there. Northbound 55 from Union up to River to Pears, heavy. 5570 approaching 203 and 64 at Paul Avenue, bogged down through the Poplar. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be hot, Roger. We're looking at 87 today. Not too bad. Partly sunny and humid. Tonight, clear and humid, low 71. Tomorrow, we get a little hotter, high of 89, but the weekend is going to be the scorcher. High of 97 on Friday, 98 Saturday, 99 Sunday. Real feels over 105 each afternoon, says AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. And with the sun out, we are starting to climb. It's 74 in Florissant, 73 in St. Peter's, sunny and 74 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:52. St. Louis continues waiting on an answer from the Army Corps of Engineers regarding their potential assistance in the aftermath of May's tornado. Mayor Kara Spencer hopes to receive an update soon, saying they've received support from some of the state's highest Republicans.
We're grateful for some of the support we've gotten from the governor, Governor Mike Kehoe, as well as our senators, Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt, who've both been supportive of this issue.
Spencer says she hopes to receive an update as soon as this week.
The Francis Howell School District is starting the new school year without a superintendent after the newly hired Dr. Mike Dominguez resigned before his first day. Dominguez, who was supposed to begin on July 1st, walked away with a payout of nearly $230,000. Just 4 days later, he was hired by a school district in Oklahoma. The situation has prompted a local nonprofit, the Holy Joe Society, to call for an investigation from the Attorney General and state auditor. The group has pointed to a previous state audit that gave the district its lowest possible rating. The Missouri State Auditor's Office has stated it will likely review the payout, and the district's school board president says they will manage the financial impact by using a deputy as an interim superintendent and not filling two other positions to maintain a balanced budget. The district has said it is not legally permitted to say more about the settlement with Dominguez.
The good news in the St. Louis region's aerospace industry.
Boeing, Gulfstream, Westar, the aviation industry, they're investing about $5 billion over the next 5 to 10 years, creating about 1,000 jobs.
But that, says Mary Lamy with Multimodal Enterprises, poses the challenge of making sure we have the workers to fill those positions. It's one of the topics at the inaugural Global Aerospace Summit that kicks off today, with industry leaders coming in from around the country.
The AI startup Perplexity has made a surprise all-cash bid of $34.5 billion to acquire Google's Chrome browser. This offer comes as a federal court is considering whether to force Google to divest key assets, including Chrome, after ruling the company holds an illegal monopoly.
Elon Musk is threatening to sue Apple.
The billionaire is upset the Apple Store's top recommendations don't include X, which he owns, or X's Grok AI chatbot. Musk claims Grok is number 5 among all apps. He accuses Apple of violating antitrust rules by not allowing any AI company besides OpenAI to be number 1 in its app store, though yesterday OpenAI ranked 7th. TikTok was the top app. In a statement, Apple defended its rankings, saying it uses algorithmic recommendations and objective criteria. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
It's 7:55.
The heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, Simple, quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, retiresafestl.com. Have you ever wondered what it's like to work with a financial advisor? Are you in your 50s or early 60s and really haven't talked to anybody about how you retire? Give me a call today. Check out our website, retiresafestl.com.
Want to tell you that tomorrow the Michelob Ultra Soccer Showcase is at it again, this time at Hot Shots in Wentzville. St. Louis City SC fans really enjoying this, and just soccer fans in general. You're going to get to meet STL City player Jay Reed. St. Louis City SC's Jay Reed will be at Thursday night's St. Louis City SC and KMOX getting together for the soccer showcase. It's at Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville. It'll be broadcast as well right here on KMOX from 6 to 8 p.m.
Right now, it's time for us to check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I can't tell what's holding you up on eastbound 44 right now. It's something between Barry and Elm that's blocking, and it's jammed back through Lindbergh now, so it's changing pretty quickly. 10 minutes ago, the jam was about half that much, so just be prepared if you're headed in on eastbound 44 in that Webster area. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, still a little busy. Lake St. Louis to Bryan, 94 all the way in through almost to the airport, just busy and heavy. Southbound 61 on to 64 through Prospect. 364 through Wing Haven, still heavy around Clarkson. From Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Kings Highway, headed through Hanley's, pretty heavy. South 270 bogs down. Dorset down to Ladue. North 270 from Gravel up to Ladue. Northbound 55 from the Union Road overpass up to Virginia is pretty heavy. Downtown, eastbound 44 out on the westbound 70 at Madison, slow. And 5570 approaching 203. Heavy pockets all the way across the Poplar right now. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunny and 74 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories Megan Lynch will be tackling in the 8 o'clock hour.
Sports betting apps are closer to getting their licenses, but when will you be able to place a bet? I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. High obesity rates in Missouri come with other problems. Fred Bottomer goes in depth.
Is AI wiping out computer coding jobs? KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz takes a look.
Plus, KMOX legal analyst Brad Young looks at whether the Trump administration can take federal control of Washington, D.C.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine and some clouds today with a high of 87.
After Megan's 8 o'clock hour, Chris and Amy take you to noon. I'll be back at noon with Cardinals coverage from Busch Stadium.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 8 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump is praising EU leaders as great people ahead of today's talks in Berlin on ending the war in Ukraine. Mr. Trump will attend virtually. Ukrainian President Zelensky will be there in person. Vladimir Putin will meet with Mr. Trump Friday at a summit in Anchorage. The BBC's Paul Adams.
The point seems to be to have the last word in Donald Trump's ear ahead of the meeting in Alaska, to tell him that all this rather loose talk that he's been using in the last few days about territorial swaps, all of this is very, very premature, that the first and most important job is to bring about a ceasefire. And that is something that Russia still seems reluctant to allow to happen as an initial step.
There's a tropical storm named Erin churning in the Atlantic. It could power up and reach the U.S. mainland. Meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Hasn't really developed much in the last 24 hours. It's been very slow to get itself going. It's got dry air. It's got some cooler temperature at the water to deal with. But over the next 2 days, probably by Friday, we'll look for it to be our first hurricane of the Atlantic season. And then as we head towards Saturday and Sunday, to Category 3 status. So that's a major hurricane.
The system's already producing dangerous rip currents along the East Coast. 5 swimmers had to be rescued in a powerful tide off Seaside Heights, New Jersey. 1 died. Correspondent Nikki Batiste is at the shore. She asked Seaside Heights Police Chief Thomas Boyd.
Given a hurricane might be headed this way, what is your advice to beachgoers?
Well, you could go to the water, but if you see the red flags up, don't go in the water. If there's no lifeguards, don't go in the water.
Texas Democrats who fled the state a week and a half ago to avoid a vote on a Republican-led congressional redistricting map are considering a return. The GOP's Phil King.
In contrast to the complications involved with race-based redistricting, this map, as before, is built on political performance, which is a well-established and permissible basis for drawing electoral districts.
Republican leaders say if they can't reach a quorum for the session by 10 a.m. Friday, they'll end their special session. A new Gallup poll finds not as many Americans are drinking booze. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
According to a new Gallup poll, 53% of U.S. adults feel even 1 to 2 drinks is bad for their health. And the survey found a record low number of Americans say they do still consume alcohol, only 54%. But among those, they say they're drinking less than they used to.
Dow futures are up 154. S&P futures ahead 18. NAS futures 189 ahead. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, August 13th. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch. When the Missouri legislature returns next year, changes may be coming to the point system that determines whether a juvenile should be held in detention, placed in an alternative program, or released. It comes after Uber and Lyft drivers were carjacked at gunpoint by the same teenager last week in St. Louis.
The issue has become a topic that has garnered statewide attention after a teen was arrested twice in a little over 24 hours for allegedly carjacking a rideshare with a firearm. State Senator Steve Butts tells KMOX a juvenile's use of a firearm in the furtherance of a crime should be enough to warrant detention until there's a hearing.
I think we're seeing with this recent armed carjackings that once a gun is introduced into the crime, the points assessed have to go up.
Butts says this does not mean the point system isn't working, just that it needs tweaking. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Abortions will continue in Missouri after the state Supreme Court unanimously refused to take up Attorney General Andrew Bailey's request to reinstate restrictions. In its ruling Tuesday, the court determined that the case must be heard in a lower court first, citing an error in bypassing the Court of Appeals. Bailey posted on X about the decision, saying, quote, "The procedural ruling is disappointing but not surprising." He added, "We will not back down." In a KMOX follow-up, our Maria Kina is talking with the chairman of the Detention Facilities Oversight Board of the City Justice Center following last month's death of a detainee.
Reverend Daryl Gray tells KMOX the Detention Facilities Oversight Board is limited with what they can say because, according to a city ordinance, when there is an ongoing police investigation, the DFOB cannot conduct their own investigation.
But what I've asked the DFOB staff to do is that immediately upon the conclusion of the police investigation, that we are going to do our own inquiry as far as DFOB.
Reverend Gray says the board wants to know what happened leading up to 31-year-old Samuel Hayes Jr.'s death, including if he received the proper medical attention. Gray tells KMOX he and Mayor Kara Spencer made an unannounced visit to the City Justice Center last week and saw the area where Hayes Jr. died. It's still not known, though, when St. Louis Police's FI unit will wrap up their investigation. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Speaking to the press for the first time since being indicted, St. Louis County Executive Sam Page maintaining his innocence. He was asked how it could impact his duties as county executive.
I'm going to keep doing the work of St. Louis County, like building roads, like we're here today to celebrate, like making sure that our county operations run, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to do it.
Page, despite telling the Business Journal in April he wants to run again, said he has not decided yet if he will run for re-election, but will before the end of the year. He's due to be arraigned on his 2 felony and 2 misdemeanor counts later this month. The president of the St. Louis County NAACP has thrown his name in the hat for state senate. John Bowman announced his plans Tuesday to run in the 14th district, which covers part of North and Mid St. Louis County. Bowman served as Missouri state representative for several years until resigning in 2008 after pleading guilty to federal charges related to credit card scams. The Anti-Defamation League is commending Missouri for its progress in fighting anti-Semitism with new legislative measures. Stuart McMillan has the story.
The new Jewish Policy Index by ADL places the Show Me State in the Progressing States category. One recent measure, the Missouri Task Force on Nonprofit Security, was signed into law earlier this year.
We're very excited about that.
Jordan Kadosh, ADL St. Louis.
And it has, strong hate crimes laws and prohibitions against doxing and swatting. And these are tactics that extremists use, not just to target Jewish institutions, but to target vulnerable populations across the state.
The latest report arrives on the heels of what's being investigated as a targeted hate crime in Clayton last week, where a resident was an apparent target of arson and anti-Semitic graffiti.
The Francis House School District starts the new school year without a superintendent and calls for an investigation. Dr. Mike Dominguez was supposed to take over as superintendent July 1st. Instead, just days before that, the district announced that due to unforeseen circumstances, Dominguez was out and he walked away with a $229,000 payout. 4 days later, an Oklahoma school district announced they'd hired him. That has the Holy Joe Society, a nonprofit civic organization, calling on the Attorney General and state auditor to investigate. They point out that an audit of the district in December gave Francis Howell not just a poor rating, but the lowest possible poor rating. The district says legally it can't say any more about the settlement with Dominguez. In baseball, the Colorado Rockies have only 2 shutout wins this season, and both times the Cardinals on the losing end, including last night. The Cardinals still have a chance to win their 3rd straight series as they take on the Rockies this afternoon at 1:15. It's here on KMOX. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's now 8:08.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now, the news At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's get you the news on the roads now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, I never could see what the trouble was on eastbound 44, but we had something blocking just before Elm. They cleared it, though, because now we're just backed up both sides of Lindbergh. By the time you get to Big Bend, you're moving better, approaching Elm. So things are getting better now, but still busy. Like normally you wouldn't see that on eastbound 44. Northbound 270 from Gravois up to 44, slow. It backs up from there to Big Bend, but remains heavy all the way up to Ladue. South 270 briefly slow past 364, then Olive to Ladue. You've got the volume. Eastbound 70. Lake St. Louis to Highway K, and then 5th Street into 270 is kind of slow. Eastbound 64, a backup from 364 through Winghaven. It picks up the pace about midway into K. It bogs down again at Lindbergh through Big Bend. South 170 bogs down as well, just south of Olive. You're off the pace. Westbound 64 from Clayton Skinker all the way at Hanley. Northbound 55 backed up from Bayless up to Weber, and then it's still slow to Virginia. Eastbound 44 downtown, and 55 from Gravois up to the Poplar. It looks like we have an incident there just past Park, and 5570 is slow from 203 all the way across the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a mix of sun and clouds today and humid with a high of 87. Mainly clear tonight, though 71. Tomorrow, more sun than clouds, quite warm, rather humid, high 89. For Friday, mostly sunny, hot and humid with a high of 97. And AccuWeather real field temperatures reaching 105. The heat continues through the weekend. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have 75 degrees in Florissant, 73 in St. Peters, and sunny skies at 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Sports betting takes a step forward in Missouri today. There's a hearing over some of the first licenses to be issued. Our Michael Calhoun previews it with Ryan Butler, who's on the beat for the sports betting publication Covers.
Yeah, so Wednesday morning, we're going to get the first part of the multi-tiered licensing process. So FanDuel, DraftKings, and Circa are all going to present their case to the Missouri Gaming Commission for one of two available, what we call untethered bids or licenses. Again, it's complicated, but this is just one of two different levels or categories of licenses you can get. The biggest thing we got to take away from this is that just because one of the companies doesn't get an untethered license, they are still eligible for one of the tethered licenses, which just means you have to partner with a casino or one of the pro sports teams. So this is big because it's our first taste of what we're going to expect. We kind of get a preview for it, get an idea, it gets the ball rolling. But again, doesn't just because you don't earn one of the two untethered licenses, you can still get into the state. And also worth noting, too, that it doesn't impact the timeline for launch. Everyone is still going live December 1st.
So if you don't get one of the untethered licenses, you basically have to have a physical presence. Now, if you're like, Penn or Caesars, you've already got a casino. So that seems to be pretty easy. Otherwise, I guess, partner with like the Cardinals for Ballpark Village, or if you don't get the untethered, you got to figure out some way to have a physical presence then.
Exactly. And so that's the biggest difference, is that it's kind of an annoyance that, and you also have to you pay some sort of fee or arrangement or deal or revenue sharing or whatever you can negotiate. In Missouri's case, it'll be either a casino or a sports team. So yeah, there are 5 sports teams left. The Cardinals announced their partner Bet365. So theoretically, one of the untethered could partner with there's 5 more teams, including the Blues in St. Louis, including the MLS team. You have that there, or there's 13 casinos, so there's still other options to be had. Possibly there's a lot of avenues and there's a lot of interest. So again, it's not the end all be all. It's kind of a convenience and make things a little bit easier. But again, I can't stress this enough. For the Missouri bettor themselves, it doesn't matter if your license, if the company's license is untethered or tethered, you're still going to get the same product. You're still going to get the same opportunity. You're still going to get the same launch date.
What kind of questions are going to be asked, or what kind of information might we hear from these companies, whether it's about the rollout of the products or anything else that might be of interest? What kind of comes up in these hearings?
Yeah, absolutely. So for Missouri specifically, there's a couple things that they have to look at. And one of them is ability to draw customers in, from either Illinois or Kansas or from the offshores. How are you going to do that? And they're going to look at your marketing expenditure. They're going to look at your history. How many customers do you draw? how much do you invest in advertising and promotions? This will give us an idea for that. A sneak preview too. DraftKings and FanDuel already said they expect to lose tens of millions of dollars just from these promotional rollouts, just from the initial wave of trying to launch in the state. So we're going to get a kind of a better clear what that might look like. Maybe an idea of promotions, possibly when we might be able to get there. It's also what's worth noting too is this gives DraftKings and FanDuel a pretty big leg up over Circa. Circa is a fan favorite. They are out of Nevada. They are known for catering to the sharp bettors. They don't limit. They have just kind of a different marketing approach. They really target a specific subset, and they have a very small, loyal customer base, a little bit different. Whereas DraftKings and FanDuel are going to come in, they're going to flood the market. They are going to advertise that combined they have about 2/3 to 3/4 of market across the country, including every state that borders Missouri with legal sports betting. So they're going to come in shock and awe, and they're going to promote that at Wednesday's hearing. So that gives them a huge, huge advantage because the commission, though it is subjective by law, they are required to consider how many customers are you going to get. And the reality is as great as Circa is and as much of a benefit it will be to have a company like that in Missouri, DraftKings and FanDuel are going to get more customers. That's just basically guaranteed.
So it sounds like it's going to be quite the frenzy. People are not going to be able to avoid, from billboards to commercials and in the sports stadiums. It seems like it's going to be everywhere. And when will people be able to actually take advantage of this?
Yeah, and again, the big thing is December 1st. Keep it going. The Monday, December 1st, the big star there with it, that's going to be the launch date. And yeah, it is interesting, just having been around Missouri, where you see in Kansas City that MGM and DraftKings are already advertising at Arrowhead. You see, when you stand in St. Louis, you look across the river, and you see DraftKings at Casino Queen. So expect that just to ramp up, especially in the two biggest metro areas where, you work with the marketing there, and you're just going to see billboards, you're going to see ads. It's going to be impossible to avoid coming this fall. I would say leading up to it, and then with a December 1st launch date.
Is there a different dynamic? Because both in Kansas City and St. Louis, they're both major metros, but they're both literally like smack dab on the state line. And, half of the suburban areas have had this legalized for quite some time now.
Oh, yeah. It was really interesting for me as someone who has observed this across the country is this is the first time we've ever seen exactly that, a state with two big metros, both of which border large states that already have legal sports betting. So it'll be interesting to see how do they appeal to these new customers. They're already announced in their financial disclosures. They're expecting to spend tens of millions. But I am curious. I think about it. If you are a sports bettor in St. Louis, you really haven't gone across the river once, registered an account with one of these books and tried it out. I find that unusual. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. Do they maybe try to target a little bit of the interior of the state? Probably not. It didn't support it in the ballot measure. There's just fewer people, less money there. They're going to go after the two big metros, St. Louis and Kansas City. And it'll be very interesting. Typically, these promotions are first-time users, first-time depositors. This maybe, hey, you've done it in Kansas, maybe you get a benefit. You've done it in Illinois or Iowa. Maybe, hey, here's a little bonus there for you. Come, enjoy it and from the comfort of home, where you don't have to cross the river on either side or, cross the border to get there. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to do it. They're going to have to try to target a new way because, again, there is only so many customers that live in Missouri that have not once, went and gone to Kansas or Illinois to go place a bet.
Well, a lot to cover as we get toward December. Ryan Butler is covering this for Covers. And thank you for getting us up to speed here on KMOX, Ryan. We appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. I'll be following along with it through December 1st and beyond.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Coming up on Total Information AM this hour, high obesity rates in Missouri come with other problems. Fred Bottomer will go in depth next here on KMOX. KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz will take a look at whether artificial intelligence is taking over some coding jobs. That's at the bottom of the hour. Can the federal government take control of Washington, D.C.? KMOX legal analyst Brad Young will answer that question at 8:40. And then OpenAI has rolled out the latest Chat GPT model. We'll tell you what makes it different right before 9 o'clock. Let's get another check of the roads
Brought
now.
to you by Jack in the Box.
With Roger Brand, he is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, while you're hitting the highways, there's some slow traffic for most folks, Megan. On eastbound Highway 70, you've got some slow stuff from the Blanchette Bridge into the Rock Road. If you're on eastbound 64, 364 past Wing Haven, about midway into K, still busy. And then again, east of Spady, all the way in through the Inner Belt to Big Bend, a lot of traffic. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley slow. South 170 primarily just down from the Parkway to 64 is heavy. South 270 is off the pace. Olive to 64. North 270 busy at Gravois. Bumper to bumper north of 44 through Manchester, but again, still slow all the way up to Ladue. Northbound 141 from Hawkins all the way up to Forest or Vance. Looks pretty backed up into Valley Park right now. Northbound 55 is slow down Bayless all the way to Virginia. 44 is backing up at Jefferson. We have an incident just past Park Avenue with lane blockage. Can't tell if it's a crash or a stall. 55 is only heavy as you approach that 44 merge point, and a little bit better on the Illinois side from 3rd Street to the Poplar, now the slowest stuff. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. And checking that forecast for today, partly sunny, humid, a high 87, clear and humid tonight, a low of 71, and then another warm, humid day tomorrow with more sun than clouds, a high of 89. We have sunny skies now, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Brought to you by Jack in the Box.
Spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack Combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis and St. Charles families have trusted Suntrup Buick GMC. As a proud family-owned dealership, we offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Buick GMC, you'll always find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and every vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupbuickgmc.com. Save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Glover, right now buy 2 windows and get 2 for free, no interest for 5 years. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. In Missouri, almost 2 out of every 3 adults are overweight or obese. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer has a closer look.
Dr. Heidi Miller is the Chief Medical Officer for the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services.
First, let me share the recent key findings that were presented at the Endocrine Society's annual meeting for 2025 this past month.
She tells Missouri Net, most of us know being overweight increases risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, and arthritis.
What most people don't realize is that obesity increases the risk for certain cancers.
Dr. Miller says cancer deaths linked to obesity have tripled in this country in the past 2 decades.
So there are certain cancers that are more likely to occur when somebody has a chronic disease of obesity. And those include stomach, gallbladder, esophagus, breast, colon, ovary cancer, thyroid, and a couple of others.
Sugary drinks are particularly dangerous in terms of contributing to obesity.
There's something about liquid sugar or any of those sugar products where when you drink it, it is such a fast infusion of sugar molecules that it wreaks havoc on our metabolism, and we are more likely to develop obesity.
Miller also says we need to move more.
Immobility and sitting all day is the worst thing that we can do.
Miller also adds, don't underestimate a good night's sleep.
If we feel good mentally, we tend to take better care of ourselves physically. So most of my patients and most of the public know what to eat, what not to eat, what is healthy, what's not healthy. But if we're able to access food, even if we don't feel good mentally, if we feel mental distress, we reach for those unhealthy foods. So interestingly, all of our behavioral health interventions to keep our mental health optimized is really important to treating obesity.
And finally, get your steps in.
There was just a study published in The Lancet just recently that indicated that 7,000 steps per day can reduce the risk of multiple chronic diseases, including reducing the risk of cancer death by 37%.
Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Is AI putting coding jobs in jeopardy? We'll talk with KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz next.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-380-9012. 800-380-9012. Again, that's 800-380-9012.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh, my Bob!
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Life is change. An election, an illness, a death. And questions. What about my family? My retirement? My estate? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano stand ready to help you plan for your life changes and protect what matters to you. They have listened, planned, and executed thousands of estate plans, taxes, and legal documents for over 30 years, right here in St. Louis. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano make it easy to get started. Go to their website, yourestatematters.com, and request their free webinar. It focuses on simple legal strategies and their process. Then schedule your free personal consultation. Life is change. Plan now. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestatematters.com. Choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
It is 8:30. Let's see how things are moving on the roads and what problems we still have out there this morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a little bit of a problem downtown right now, Megan. I mentioned the jam earlier. This is traffic reports, the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. I can't tell. There's several tractor trailers in the right lane, it looks like, on northbound 55 or eastbound 44 just past Park Avenue. So I don't know if it's a crash or if one's stalled out and the others are stuck behind it. It doesn't matter. But traffic is backed up on 44 about midway between Grand and Jefferson, and 55 it's backed up to about Gravois. Now 55 is also a little busy between Bayless and River de Pere. 44 has a little slowdown at Laclede Station. In addition to that, back up through those downtown stretches. Westbound 64 west of 3rd Street to the Poplars heavy. On the Missouri side, Science Center to Hanley is slow. Eastbound 64, you still have heavy traffic east of 364 through Winghaven from about Spady all the way into Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at Delmar. South 270, Olive to 64. North 270 north at Gravois to Ladue. Eastbound 70 from the Blanchette Bridge into the Rock Road's kind of busy. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It's going to be partly sunny and humid today. We're expecting a high of 87 degrees. It's not going to cool off much overnight. Clear skies, but humid, and a low of 71. Tomorrow, more sun than clouds, very warm and humid, a high of 89. By Friday, that's pretty much the same story, and it's going to get even warmer. Sunny, hot, humid, a high 97. And it could feel like it's up to 105 on Friday. For Saturday and Sunday, hot and humid both days. A mix of sun and clouds, highs around 99. Real feels are going to be over 105 each of those afternoons over the weekend. Currently, we have sunny skies, 75 degrees in Florissant. It's 73 in St. Peter's, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Coding has been touted as the way to gain entry into the tech industry, but there are growing concerns that AI will take away those jobs. Let's get more this morning from KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz, professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at St. Louis University. Jerry, what are you hearing right now about the job market for these programmers and how AI might be affecting that?
Well, at this moment, there is a downturn in hiring of entry-level programmers. And that's a relatively recent occurrence because of how great AI has gotten at doing basic writing tasks for programming. So there are a lot fewer jobs around for entry-level coders all over the country.
Could this impact some local St. Louis programs that focus on this?
It does, and it's already affecting the local colleges that are training people. And of course, one of the programs that is a signature program in St. Louis we're globally famous for is Launch Code, which literally has expanded the range of people who could become coders. And those people are being trained for the kind of positions that right now AI is taking. So it probably is something very much on the mind of Jim McKelvey, the founder of Launch Code.
Now, are there still some tech opportunities, though, for programmers?
Actually, there are. There are still a lot of areas where there isn't confidence in AI coding. Here in St. Louis, the healthcare industry ends up hiring a lot of programmers. And there's also a lot of folks who are in the financial industry, where the companies are more worried about the kind of mistakes AI would make, and so they're still relying more on traditional human coders. So there is opportunity out there, and there are always places in maybe less popular industries that need a coder or two, and they're not ready to move over to AI at this point.
That is KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz. Thank you so much.
Have a great week.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
It's 8:35. Time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Denise Pellegrini.
Good morning. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent thinks the Fed should be open to cutting interest rates by a 0.5 percentage point. That's a bigger cut than many have been talking about. Richmond Fed President, though, Tom Barkin, says uncertainty over the economy is decreasing, but he also says it's not clear yet if the Fed should concentrate more on controlling inflation or helping the job market. The Fed meets again mid-September. We'll see if stocks can squeeze out more gains after record highs for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ yesterday. Missouri-based H&R Block is forecasting higher than expected sales for the year. H&R Block also posting a bump in tax prep revenue and also higher than expected sales of its tax identity shield plan. And Superman is flying into homes faster than a speeding bullet. Director James Gunn saying on X, the film will be available to buy starting day after tomorrow. It's available for pre-order already on Apple TV, Fandango at Home, and Prime Video for about $30. The film just opened in theaters about 5 weeks ago. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Here's an idea. Summer is not over yet. Make sure you spend a summer day or night at Ted Drew's Frozen Custard. It is a great place. You know it is. To celebrate summer with family and friends, Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, the St. Louis tradition. It's a place that has been here since 1929, and both locations of Ted Drew's are open, Chippewa and South Grand. Make Ted Drew's part of your summer tradition, that delicious Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, and all the great flavors and ways that you can do it. Concretes, malts, shakes, sundaes, floats, even ice cream sodas, and they have quarts available as well. Ted Drew's legendary frozen custard, delicious and an unforgettable experience. Also, they have that gift shop at the Chippewa location, 6726 Chippewa, 4224 South Grand. Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
Insurance companies often have a basic strategy: delay, deny, defend. Some try to grind you down, but they have another tremendous weapon, a software called Colossus. They know which attorneys are great and which are not so great. They know who is likely to take the last offer and who will take them by their scalp, kicking and screaming to trial. They know that they have to pay some firms early and fairly. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance companies have done their homework. Before you hire a lawyer for your injury case, do yours. Visit forthepeople.com and see our settlements and verdicts for cases like yours. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. When you hire the wrong firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros, just $10 for students, lunch and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Guys, Glover here. August is Pet Appreciation Month. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129, 15% off pet odor treatments, and take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020.
We have sunny skies, 73 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Here's what's happening. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page tells KMOX he'll stay in office despite money. St. Mary's Southside Catholic High School celebrating the purchase of its property from the Archdiocese, allowing it to function as an independent private school. And a Gallup poll released today shows fewer Americans reporting they drink alcohol as concerns about health risks rise. Coming up, KMOX legal analyst Brad Young looks at the way Missouri holds juvenile offenders after a teen is accused of robbing rideshare drivers. First, though, let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have our issue downtown, Megan. If you're coming in on 44 or 55, that right lane's still closed just past Park Avenue. This traffic report's a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. So because of that, that's really affecting more so 44 than 55, which surprises me since you come in on the left side for 44. But 44 is backed up almost to Grand. I call it Grand. It's slow and it jams us east of there. 55, the backup is only to Gravois, so it's not as bad for 55 drivers. Westbound 64 Science Center headed out to Hanley. Still a couple of slow spots. Eastbound 64 still bogged down both sides of Winghaven. There's some slow stuff east of Lindbergh into about Big Bend. South 170 Delmar down to 64. There's a couple of heavy spots. South 270 just approaching Ladue to 64 busy. North 270 primarily from approaching 44, I guess we'll say, up to Ladue still on the heavy side as well. I'm Roger Brand of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be partly sunny and humid with a high of 87. Clear and humid tonight. It won't get very cool. We're going to have an overnight low of 71. Right now, we have sunny skies, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. President Trump has said on social media platform Truth Social that if D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, he'll have no choice but to take federal control of the city. But can he? We asked KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris Dow Fisher & Young this morning. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Megan.
So can the president take total control of Washington, D.C.? Is that likely to happen?
Well, the answer is yes, but it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Under the District of Columbia Home Rule Act, that goes back to 1973, Megan, but that law specifically grants the authority to the president to literally take control of Washington, D.C., because D.C. is not a state, it's a district, and it's under the direct control of the federal bureaucracy. And so the president has authority to overtake the use of the police department, but only for a limited period of time. The statute gives the president up to 30 days control. After 30 days, the president can only continue that control with a grant of authority from Congress.
So what's the difference between, for example, control of the police department and actual control of the jurisdiction, which is what he's talking about as well?
Correct. This only specifically gives the authority for taking control of the police department, the Metropolitan Police Department, and there has to be a declaration of an emergency. Now, the president has said there's an emergency. The issue becomes what constitutes an emergency. We see that crime is down in Washington, D.C., as it is in most places across the country. But on the other hand, we still see violent crime with youth in particular in lots of cities, including right here in St. Louis. So once the president announces that emergency, that 30-day clock begins to tick.
Now, Brad, can you talk to us a little bit about, I mean, probably all of us learned this in civics when we were in grade school, but talk about what's unique in the way that Washington, D.C. is governed compared to other cities, for example.
Well, literally everything about Washington, D.C. is dictated by Congress. Under this Home Rule Act, it granted Washington, D.C. a limited degree of self-governance. It has the authority to elect a mayor and a city council and to legislate locally, manage its own police department, but only because Congress has allowed that. So unlike any state that has its own authority under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, Washington, D.C. doesn't have that. So literally everything about D.C.'s governance is dictated by Congress and ultimately the president when something is signed into law.
One question that I've heard asked a lot is, how is the federal takeover of the D.C. police and installing National Guard there different than the National Guard deployment in Los Angeles that's currently in litigation?
Well, that's a great question. There's a statute that specifically allows here the president to have unfettered access to controlling the police for up to 30 days because it's Washington, D.C. But in California, that's a state. So there was a lot of litigation when the president sent in the National Guard troops and took control of the National Guard troops in California, because that's under the jurisdiction of the state of California. Now, the president prevailed on that legally because he followed the statute in terms of notifying the governor's office, but it didn't require the governor's approval. But again, there was very strict limitations as to what the National Guard could do. They could not be used in a law enforcement capacity in California, whereas the National Guard can be used in that capacity in Washington, D.C.
Let's move to a local story now. We've heard a lot about this teenager that's been accused of robbing a rideshare driver at gunpoint one night, Brad. He was released, and then police believe the teen did the same thing the following night. Local police chiefs are calling for change, and what they're pointing to is this juvenile detention assessment point system. Could you explain for our listeners how this works?
Sure. Under Missouri law, there is a point system where juveniles are assessed points based upon the severity of their alleged crimes. But here's the part that's got the local chiefs of police upset, because under the Missouri system, a juvenile has to have 15 points in order to be incarcerated or held in custody pending a hearing. Well, if you look at the point system in Missouri for this, most felonies are only 11 points. So if someone is arrested for a felony, that in of itself means that the juvenile gets released, because that's 11 points for a felony, even though the threshold for detention is 15 points. You can point a gun at a police officer and threaten to kill a police officer as a juvenile, and that's only 12 points. It's still below that 15-point threshold. So that's the issue that's being raised by the chiefs of police, that this point system needs to be revisited.
So obviously they're saying it sets the bar too high. It's far too subjective, as you've just kind of detailed for us. What's the flip side of the argument for the juvenile in this situation?
Well, the flip side of the argument, and again, that's a great question, Megan, and that's this, that society recognizes that locking up juveniles can be a very bad thing, because once a person gets institutionalized, once they get into the system of justice, it's very hard for that person to ever break out for the rest of their lives. So what we're seeking here, and certainly what the justice system is seeking, is a balance between making sure that people who commit, and juveniles who commit violent crimes, are detained. On the other hand, we don't want to ruin a juvenile's life for the rest of their life based upon accusations of misconduct.
We've got just a little bit of time. I want to hit on another story that I saw in St. Louis Magazine that was brought to my attention by Frank Ladd, our producer here. Restaurants who say they've been hit with frivolous lawsuits that basically allege their websites aren't ADA compliant. Can you give us a really brief rundown of what's happening here?
Sure. There's one law firm out of Kansas City that kind of specializes in representing blind plaintiffs, suing small businesses. It's always small companies, suing them, stating that their websites are not ADA compliant when it comes to the visually disabled. And and these are serial litigants. These are the same plaintiffs who file these somewhat frivolous lawsuits over and over and over again. And it's only against small businesses. It's happened right here in St. Louis, but it's always out of Kansas City, shaking them down for violations of the ADA. And it's become a big problem for small businesses in the St. Louis area.
Well, I'm sure it's something that we will continue to follow, as well as St. Louis Magazine. So thank you so much for your time this morning, Brad. I'm sorry we're out of it.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right. That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young joining us this morning here on KMOX. And coming up next, there is a new version of Chat GPT. We're going to tell you what makes it smarter.
Now the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. One of my favorite companies. Been working with them for about a decade now. And they taught me, and you should know, my dad actually taught me a long time ago, that your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home, and you need to take care of it. So when it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, 314-781-5200. 314-781-5200. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, not just the ones that they will bring to your home. They
will repair all of them. And you can even schedule evening and weekend service with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. And by the way, the name Overhead Door gets copied a lot. Always look for the red ribbon. That is your assurance that you have the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
That baby's gone.
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible.
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to stand on the mound and throw out the first pitch at a Cardinals game? Well, this is your chance to experience it for yourself all week long. Listen to Total Information AM for your chance to win the grand prize of a first pitch at the August 17th Cards-Dodgers game and a Shanko gift card. Grand prize courtesy of Shanko. More information on how you can throw out the first pitch? Log on to KMOX.com/contests.
Thanks for joining us for Total Information AM this morning here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. OpenAI has officially released the long-awaited GPT-5. It's the company's next generation model. We wanted to find out more about it, and I'm joined now by ZDNet senior AI reporter Sabrina Ortiz. Sabrina, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Super excited to chat about this topic.
Well, what makes GPT-5 so different?
Yeah, first of all, GPT-5 is available to both free and paid subscribers, which is already a huge differentiator amongst all of the other releases. OpenAI typically saves all of its latest advancements and models for all the paid tiers. Then we have the fact that the model itself offers a really unique approach that the other models don't have. And what it does is it combines a reasoning model and it combines a regular good for most tasks model into one package. And then it uses a router, which is just basically saying, I'm going to pick whether we are going to use the reasoning model, which all that does is it thinks a bit deeper through your prompt to produce a better, higher quality answer, which is especially useful for like complex tasks like math or coding. Or we're going to use the standard good for all model that's like fast and good enough. And it automatically picks it, giving you a combination of quality and also speed.
That was going to be my next question. You know, is there a difference then if you have a free account, can you max that out, especially when we're talking about that deeper reasoning model that it may kick into gear?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for free users, they'll only have the option, as soon as they open it, they'll see GPT-5, which is great. There's no selecting having to be done there. But then if you do hit max capacity, you'll be switched over to GPT-5 Mini automatically. Again, this is nothing you have to worry about as a user on your end, but it will automatically boot you a level down. Again, reaching those capacities, though, will require a bit of heavier usage. For most people, I think you won't run into hitting those limits.
When we look at ChatGPT-5 compared to other chatbots that are popular and available, what do you think the pros and cons are?
That's a great question. I think that the biggest advantage is that you don't have to think as a user, do I want to use a reasoning model or do I want to use a standard model? And this is a big thing because there's a lot of guesswork there. It's often reported that users themselves don't even know which model is best for what, especially because they all sound so similar, right? Like GPT-04 and GPT-4o are very different models and they accomplish different things, even though they sound exactly the same. So eliminating the guesswork is a big thing there. Of course, some people prefer the control, especially if you're an AI aficionado. And then OpenAI just brought back the ability to choose between the GPT-5 new model and legacy models, but that's only available for paid subscribers. But for free, regular public users, I would say the biggest difference is not having to think about which model am I selecting for what, where all the other companies still have some form of a model picker where you have to select it yourself.
I know this has just been rolled out, but what do we know so far about how it handles hallucinations?
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest appeals of this model. When OpenAI launched it, they, of course, published some benchmarks, especially related to hallucinations, showing that it's one of the company's models that hallucinates the least. And again, for all of our listeners, hallucinations just mean, it's outputting information that sounds really plausible and accurate, even though it's not. But also beyond OpenAI's benchmarks, users are taking to both Reddit and X to share their experiences and finding that it also hallucinates much less. One of the really good signs is that it will actually admit that it doesn't know something. And I know that sounds like very basic, but for AI models, again, the reason we run into so many hallucinations is they're trained to speak like humans and they follow patterns. So most of the times they'll come up with a really, really convincing answer that sounds accurate, even if they have no idea what they're talking about. So the fact that this model's able to admit, hey, I actually don't know what the answer to this is a huge step in reducing those hallucinations. Of course, they're still prone to hallucinations like any other AI model, but at least that rate is reduced, which is a good step in the right direction.
Sabrina, talking about that accuracy and admitting when it doesn't have an answer, we've got about a minute left. I know a lot of people use ChatGPT for health-related questions. What do we know about accuracy with this platform?
Yeah, that's actually another big perk of GPT-5 is that OpenAI dedicated its own even benchmark testing how well it does in answering these health queries, which is, again, a great application of the model if you think about the perks of being able to conversationally ask it something and then have it break down any topic to you, especially when, you get a doctor's diagnosis. A lot of times it sounds like word soup. There's a lot of, big names that mean nothing to the average person. But again, first of all, consult your medical professionals. That's always a good idea. And also it requires, even more accuracy needs to be used for those. So OpenAI did improve it. Some things it does, for example, now it will help you understand more of what you're asking by asking questions and making sure it's proactive in that way. And also, again, accuracy, the benchmarks are posted. It's called Health Bench, also improves there.
Sabrina, thank you so much for explaining this in layman's terms for us this morning.
Of course. I hope everybody has fun tinkering. It's free, so might as well give it a try.
All right. That is ZDNet senior AI reporter Sabrina Ortiz joining us this morning on Total Information AM.
Flash flooding yesterday made a mess of highways and even flooded the dugouts in Busch Stadium. Plus, we've got our midweek, midday, midlife conversation, how to motivate young people. We've got a professor of psychology joining us. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Doesn't it feel like everything in life is so complicated lately? Like everything is just so hard. It